And I think maybe we're back.
I got a notification.
Well, I'm
I
live
think the
now chewing
stream
my
got
gum.
hacked.
I think.
Yeah, I got you now. Live. I got a notification. Why is it? Why am I hearing myself? Okay, there we go.
All right. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway. So anyway, we were talking wrestling. Do you think Forrest, do you think this is the path for John Cena to get the win so he can get
No,
his
I
record
think CM
breaking?
Punk and John Cena are in the same boat. I think they've been there, they've done that, and they both understand the business. And they're gonna be
Well,
like,
that's
we're gonna do
true.
business and we're gonna be there in the final four, maybe final six, maybe one of us will get eliminated earlier. It'll be a big shock. But no, I don't see either of them take it down. If Vince McMahon were there, different story. But with Triple H at the helm, looking towards the future, I don't think either of them are taking it down.
So what? Like, explain to me like what a WrestleMania is. I really have no concept of what it is. I know there's a bunch of wrestling. Is it like the end of the year thing? Is it like, or what's the frequency of these things? And like,
Pretty
what's at
much
stake?
just consider it to be the biggest pay-per-view they do, and everything they do for about 6 months leading up to it is all pretty much, for the most part, planned around what's going to happen at WrestleMania. Injuries could throw a loop,
So
somebody
they're basically creating the storyline all for 6 months up to the. Is it every
if
6 months?
they're doing their job well. You want
Is it
long-term
twice a
booking.
year?
WrestleMania is once a year and it's 2 days.
I see.
It used to be one
But
day, and then they
they
oversaturated
start
it.
prepping the storyline 6 months in advance.
Yeah, at least
Okay.
they should. They should. There's a rival wrestling promotion that doesn't do that as much, and they get blasted for it a lot.
What like so? Give me a example of like what kind of stuff happens.
Like at WrestleMania,
Yeah, just like what's so interesting about it? Just
the first big
Usually
thing
every
is
belt,
go
usually
ahead.
every major belt is up for grabs. They have
okay. So they
they have
have
a
a tournament.
champion.
Yeah, champion.
They
They have a
also have
champion
from the
and they have
jump gone with
do,
celebrities.
do
There's
people have to
normally a
like
celebrity or
win
two.
up the 6 months to get into position to fight for the belt? Is that how it works? Like they're
well, okay. So the winner of the Royal Rumble, both the men's and the women's Royal Rumble, they get to pick. There's two championship belts for both men and women. They get to pick their opponent for WrestleMania, and they get to pick who they're gonna challenge for their belt and go after. And they get to pick, one of the two champions. So one of the storylines is that John Cena came back. He's acting and everything now, but
yeah.
he basically said, "One more year of wrestling, and then I'm retiring and I'm done." And so he said that
Was he
he
retired or did he just decide
He
to
was doing
retire?
acting for
yeah.
the most part. He'd come
So he's
back.
basically I'm only going to do another year of wrestling and then I'm out.
Well,
Out.
he's I mean, and it happens to the best of us, but he's balding and he has the worst comb over of all
Oh
time.
God, and his hat when he tears off his hat.
And which is fine.
He could just go completely bald. I'm sure.
Yeah, I
He
don't think he
can't
could
he
pull it
can't
off.
for his like roles that he like, you know.
Oh yeah, that
What's
too.
he been in lately? That I know.
I thought they were making a season 2 of
Peacemaker,
Oh, Peacemaker. Yeah, yeah.
which is a really good show.
Didn't he wants to be the what's that Gambit? Isn't that John Cena?
That was a long time ago. He's too old now.
No, but he was Gambit in the movie, the Deadpool movie.
No, he wasn't.
Well, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh no, it's not him. It's the other guy. What's the other? Is another.
Regardless,
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
John Cena has won, it's either 15 or 16 world championships, and he tied Ric Flair for the most world championships ever in a career. Which, yes, it's completely made up, blah 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 blah. But you can, but which is also bullshit because Ric Flair's probably had 30 world championships over his career, but they only recognize 16. So the big longest thing is that he's got to get one more so he can have the most world champions. And so that's the big thing. Are they going to go through with it? Are they going to let him? And now they're saying because
Channing Tatum was who was confusing him with, by the way.
Now they're saying that because of the fact that a lot of stuff has come out about Ric Flair being like newsflash, the guy was a dirtbag. They're like, maybe it's better that we have a guy like John Cena, like be the one that has the sole thing. So in the next year or so, like, because he said, one more championship reign for John Cena, or who are like the, who are the wrestlers I want to be in the step in the ring and have one last chance, and he declared himself for the Royal Rumble. So now they're saying, well, if they let him win it, 30 men, start with 2 in the ring, and then they wrestle, and then you have to be thrown over the top rope, and both feet have to hit the ground.
I see. So you can just hang on by the little.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of times people hold on and like one foot touches the ground and they kind of push themselves back up.
I see.
There and one of the famous things is that when they throw you over the top rope, but you grab onto the rope as you're going over, and then you're hanging onto the top rope, and then and they pull themselves back in, like they're able to and that's
the drama.
There you go, Forrest. What is that called?
Whose idea was that? Was that
was that?
Well, a lot of people have done it, but Heartbreak Kid was like when they grab onto the top rope, but they don't land out and they pull themselves back in. What is that called in wrestling?
Not the catch up. That's what you do. I don't remember what it's called.
Skinning the cat is what they call it. Can you skin the cat?
That's right.
Because it's it takes a ton of basically
upper
your
body
core
strength.
muscle. Yeah, your core. Because you're doing a pull up, but you're lifting your whole body up and over.
Right, and it's also this weak. The rope's not like it pulls down, right? Like you don't get your leverage is like a pull up.
So anyway,
I could never do a pull up, by the way.
I could do at my best I could do 4.
That's and then I was.
Yeah, 4. Yeah, I couldn't even do 1.
And that was when I weighed a lot less and I was playing football and lifting weights all the time.
Yeah, I worked on glamour muscles for a while. I remember somebody called me and they're like, yeah, how many can you do these? And I did 3 and I was dead. And they're like, oh, I thought you were in good shape. I was like, yeah, some parts.
And I always got so mad.
I could do sit-ups pretty well.
There you go. But yeah, so now not WrestleMania, but that's the big thing. Royal Rumble is my favorite pay-per-view because the Royal Rumble is just a fun match to watch because there's always a surprise entrant or two. They get some old timer comes back, you're sitting there and all of a sudden Jake the Snake's music hits and you're just like, what the heck?
Gets the adrenaline going.
Yeah,
How much does it cost?
I mean, to go, I ask
for to watch it.
Well, nothing. Right now it's on Netflix. WWE's on Netflix, so you'll be able to watch it on Saturday.
Oh, really? I could watch it. Yeah. Is this Saturday?
It's this Saturday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's the WWE's on. They signed a $1 billion contract.
The last one I watched, I remember, was Macho Man and Hulk Hogan.
Oh yeah,
wasn't that one of the biggest of the 80s?
Well, that was. You go back and you watch that whole thing, and it's one of my favorite matches ever. When Macho Man was wrestling for the Intercontinental Championship, and he was wrestling. Why can't I think of his stupid name? The Elvis impersonator guy.
Oh God, Intercontinental Champion,
Honky Tonk Man. The Honky Tonk Man, and so he was wrestling the Honky Tonk Man, and he was winning. And then, of course, Honky Tonk Man's goons hit the ring, and they went, beat him up. And then Miss Elizabeth, Macho Man's lady, ran away. They scared her away, and then they were just in the ring, and they were, beating him senseless. And they had him lined up. They were holding him, and they had him lined up to hit him over the head with Honky Tonk Man's guitar. And here comes Miss Elizabeth, and she's bringing Hulk Hogan out with her. And Hulk Hogan ran, and Macho Man was still kind of a bad guy, so it was but then Hulk Hogan, of course, and he comes out and he's like, what's going on? Looking around like he's crazy. And then he can't believe what's happening in the ring. And and he raced in and he made the save, and Macho Man and Hulk Hogan threw everybody else out of the ring, and they took off running. But of course, then they backed up. They didn't see each other, and they backed up into each other, and they turned around like they were gonna punch, and then Macho Man put his hand out, and Hogan like looked to the crowd. Should I shake his
Should I grab
hand?
his
And
hand?
everybody's cheering, and he shook Macho Man's hand, and then they became the Mega Powers, but then they slowly planted this seed of like, because Macho Man would come to the ring and Miss Elizabeth would hold the ropes up for him and like to go underneath because it was his lady. It was and then she would bring Hulk Hogan out to the ring, and then she would hold the ropes open, and he would go, no, 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 and then he'd hold the ropes open for her because he was a gentleman. And then slowly this seed got planted in
The
Macho
jealousy
Man's
seed.
head. Yeah, the jealousy seed. And over a course of time, they were like the mega powers. They were winning left and right. They're both, Hogan, he was the Intercontinental Champion. Hogan was the world champion. And
The difference between intercontinental and world.
well, the Intercontinental is like the lesser of the two. It's like it's the fighting man's champion, right? Because they wrestle every weekend, but the championship didn't go up. But the Intercontinental Champion has he is the first contender. He has the right to cash in his on his contract, his first contender. Like he can say, I want to wrestle for the championship. And so then, but they were like watching each other's back. They're protecting each other. And then finally Macho Man lost it because he thought Hulk Hogan was trying to steal his girl. And he threw Miss Elizabeth out of his life. He got Scary Sherry was his manager, and then he turned on Hogan and beat him for the championship, and he went on a heel turn. I mean, it was like this. It was like years. This storyline just kept going and going and going, and then finally, like they planted another seed, and Scary Sherry, like he got Macho Man got beat, and Scary Sherry was like at WrestleMania, and I think she was like beating up, like he was like handcuffed to. I don't forget what it was, but Scary Sherry was like sprayed mace in his eyes or something, and he was like, and she's beating up, and the out of the crowd, Miss Elizabeth ran into the ring and beat up Scary Sherry and threw him out, and then like literally, if you go back and watch it, and they Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth, who were actually married in real life, they hug in the middle of the ring, and you cut to the crowd, and there's people just bawling, bawling, like just like so happy that he when he got back together with his lady.
It's
Uh,
wild how reactions were to wrestling back in the day before the internet. Like when I listened to
yeah.
Jim Cornette talk about like, oh yeah, there was legitimately people. I was scared. I was scared they were gonna have guns and see me outside. Like people were nuts back
Oh,
then.
people like the old days. Like they said that I forget who it was, what wrestler it was, but yeah, he said like he was walking back, and he said like an old lady stabbed him with a pair of scissors as he was walking by because they were like so mad. But yeah.
I think I want LA Knight to win, but I think they're gonna go full youth movement. I think Braun Breaker will win. I think they're gonna go Braun Breaker Gunther.
LA Knight had no. I mean, Gunther's not going to win because he's a champion already.
Who
Yeah, no,
runs
but
the
I'm
show
saying I
now?
think
Like
they'll go
who?
Braun Breaker versus Gunther.
Oh, okay.
And then in the second card, they'll either schedule in CM Punk or John Cena. I don't think they're going to give John Cena the belt. I think it's just too obvious.
I think they will give him one eventually, just so he can claim the record. But that's it. It
Oh
won't
yeah,
be
I don't
a.
think he'll get the well. Now there's two, maybe.
I can see him being a transition champion, right? Like, so if you know, like maybe have him beat Gunter or Walter or whatever, and and then he has it for like a month, and then a heel beats him, so they can transition it to somebody else. I don't know.
Well, last time I saw him wrestle, I wasn't that impressed. So
Well, the
I,
guy's old.
he is. But that does. I mean, the Undertaker still put out. Those WrestleManias, man. Even when he was old, dude. I remember I've listened to those interviews. He's like, oh yeah, I knew I was going to be feeling that for months after WrestleMania, but I'd go at it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just
So-
hope it's something that is not predictable. John Cena and Uso. CM
So-
Punk.
I don't want to make any light of this horrible tragedy or whatever, but I'm always stunned. How do planes run into each other? You'd think you'd see them, right? I mean, I guess it's at night.
Was it on a helicopter?
Well, one's a helicopter, but it had to have lights on, right?
Yeah, but they don't turn
I
on a
pull out
dime.
that lights
It's not
out
like they turn
sometimes.
on
I
a
mean,
dime.
like I bet you, like I imagine it happens sometimes. Like, oh yeah, I forgot to turn my helicopter. I mean, I don't know. Is it like cars where you have to manually turn them on and off? Because if so, I mean, I could see somebody just forgetting. Especially,
Also, what's a helicopter doing where a commercial airline place is?
there's a good question
Taking off.
too.
I guess what's the vicinity? Like, did it just take off or something, or was it just like landing?
Yeah, how much information do we have yet?
I don't know. I don't know if we got any information. This is not a good timeline. I am like these days, man. I'm just like, hey,
Yeah, it'll start getting normal. Well, I guess I
I
shouldn't
want
say
like
that.
boring. I want boring years, please.
Yeah, dude, that's what I was. One thing I liked about Biden was the peace. The peace of like I don't have to follow the news every week because shit's not gonna happen. Like, there's not gonna be nothing crazy gonna happen. Good or bad. Nothing crazy is gonna happen.
Do they have video of it?
Well, there's
Oh, it went
a
into the river
video.
too. I mean, here's the thing: if anybody survives, they go into the river. That's not gonna. That's not good.
Rough. Where was the crash again?
It's Washington,
Washington. It was
Wait, Washington, DC
DC.
or Seattle? Like,
DC.
the
Ooh,
They
it
went
was
into the
on a-
Potomac.
Oh, that's cold. Oh yeah.
it was on its approach to land. The plane was.
Yikes.
And there was a chopper plane.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that sucks.
Yes, it does.
Um,
Playing
Yeah.
games lately?
I was just gonna say, do we talk about
So,
something happy?
I'll talk about my gaming stuff, if that's okay.
Yo,
Gaming show.
Second week of 10-hour day of Iridia. I put 20 hours into this game already.
Still as hot?
It's a little less hot, but it's still pretty good.
When did it so when did it start trickling? Like,
So we
roughly
want
what
to.
hour?
Well, here's the thing: we're doing everything possible, right? Like we're following up every lead,
Yeah.
and that's sort of like you'll get leads that are just kind of like, what? Why is this in the game? Now I'm happy that it is in the game because that just gives you like more flavor. But some of them are just like kind of silly.
Oh,
Yeah.
is it like where you're hoping it's more, and then it's
Yeah,
like,
we're trying to
Yeah.
uncover what's the plot, like what's the story, like you're basically the story that you are what's called exiles, and you're trying to earn yourself back into citizenry by doing like basically tasks for people, and they give you these things called squills, which are like little wooden discs that I guess at some point will turn in to become redeemed exiles, you know? We don't even know why we're exiles. Like, what do we do? And there's like little hints of it, right? Like there's like little pieces and tidbits and stuff, but I'm like, I want it all, right? After 20 hours, I want a little more of the story. And I'm thinking I might just try to figure out, well, here's the thing. I don't know what to do. We're going to play it. We're going to play more. But we might accelerate it, if that makes sense, you know,
yeah.
to see more of the story.
I mean, 20 hours in, you know,
I mean, it's been
that's a lot of.
been really great. We played it. I mean, it's a ton of fun. Like it's really good. You know, we're just kind of like anxious to see more, right? Like more plot.
And also, there's that dread of like, is this it? Is this the amount we're gonna get the way going forward? Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to judge it because there's some secret envelopes and stuff. Like I don't want to spoil it. Like here's the thing. I know. Close your ears if you don't want to hear anything. Kabuki, give me a fair warning. Turn off your thing for 5 minutes. Not 5 minutes. It's only gonna be 2.
Oh, okay, I'll stop the stream. Hold on. Oh,
But it's basically
okay.
there's 3 map. There you get a map. They're like it's like a hex map that you punch, and the hexes are like all hidden, right? Which is cool. You push down on them and they pop out, and then you flip them over, right? It's really the production of this game is it just blows me away.
Ooh,
It's
do they have
amazing.
what's the system they use? Do they use the Rise of Queensdale toilet plunger?
No, you just push down on it with your finger, and
Oh,
it
disappointing.
has like a little lever point where it just pops up, and then you grab it and you flip it over. And we've explored every space now of the map, so we're just trying to figure out how to get to the next map. There's more maps. That's the spoiler part,
Oh,
right?
isn't there like multiple layers? Or am I thinking of a different game where it can go down 2, 3, 4 layers? No, I'm thinking of Ice. Never mind. I got my games
No,
mixed up.
it's one layer, and we've leveled up. I think we've because you're only in the starting zone. You're only allowed to level up to level 4. So at some point we're like, well, where do we go now? To level up. But the combat system is really good. It's got a really fun, like it kind of borrows from Sleeping Gods. Have you played Sleeping Gods?
I have.
Well, you know how remember it had like the little grid, and you like
Mhm.
put the monsters out, and you like can cross the grid. It has that kind of stuff flavor to it. Like
Okay.
all the weapons like hit in a specific way. So like my weapon, it's a lightning bolt. That's like my primary damage dealer, and I can come in at any angle, like from up, down, left, or right, and strike. One of the other guys, he only strikes from upper left to lower right, so he comes across like that. So you're doing diagonals across the bodies. And there's like all these little weak points or shield points and weak points, and there's other kinds of points that have been. I won't spoil what they are, but they're in the game as well. Um, and we've come across one combat where we ran away. Like we looked at the monster and we're like, nope, let's just run. Like it was terrifying because we looked at it. I'm like, this thing's gonna just wail. Like we've died almost every time. Like we're basically
Yeah.
just barely hanging on, which is exciting, right? That's the way to make games. It's fun. Like if you just walk over everything, it's like, no fun. I'd be curious how the Dice Tower reviewed it because I don't think how could they possibly finished it unless they really. I mean, maybe they didn't finish it, but they got enough of it to give a rating. Do you know if they finished it, Kabuki?
All
9, 9, 8.5, and 8. Okay.
right, I'm gonna tell Kabuki it's good to come back. It's your spoilers over.
Yeah, she's back.
Where's Matt? He was in the chat.
He's not feeling well. He's
Who
taking off.
cares?
I think we lost him. Anyway,
Um,
Iridia is really good. We're just trying to figure out how to get the most out of it with our hours, right? We're waning a little bit. Like we want the teeth to come out, if that makes sense. Like we're fighting like rats and stuff, like
you're killing the boars so you can.
we fought boars actually. The boars stampede you, which is pretty fun. I mean, the game is amazing. Like I'm having a blast playing it. It's just that now I'm kind of like running a little thin on the. Here's my one criticism of the game: too many cards. Everything's derived by cards. It's a little tedious to file the cards. Like there's 3 box decks of card. Like there's got to be like 500 or 600 cards in the game, and you have to like kind of filing cabinet like try to find what you need. After a 10-hour day, you're like, oh man, I wish this was easier. Like I wish there was like an app or a book for some things. And some of the encounters are basically just flavor. They don't have any plot. They don't have any real interaction in them. You just go through the story, and so you spend couple minutes, pull out the card and set up the map, and like, okay, it's fine. But it adds up over time, right? Like I wish it was just a little quicker to do that.
Um,
Yes, it's a little bit grindy, and it's got a grind thing in it. You can get jobs, like you go questing, and you have to like go get the job from a town, and then go try to find like encounter that mission in the wild. So let's say I'm hunting rats. That's one of the missions, right? it tells you like go walk around this area and like trigger, you shuffle it into the top 3 cards of the deck, and then you have to walk around and like find it. Right. That's a little contrived. I wish it was just like instantaneous, like you're doing the job. But I get it. It's a game system, right? It's not, it makes it fun to like, oh, hey, here's the thing we were looking for, and it feeds cards into the traveling deck, which is pretty cool. And so you're traveling and you're like, well, that ghost you met at the beginning of the game appeared, and if you hit if your circumstances are right, you'll have another encounter with the ghost, which is really cool. I like that. Anyway, I don't know if we're gonna have another full day, but we'll see. We have to kind of decide how we're gonna proceed. I mean, I got nothing else to play. Although Aeon's Trespass Odyssey is basically on the table, and I'm like, have you seen this game, Aeon Trespass? It's a monster.
Oh, that's the way.
Just-
Yeah, that one looks
It's
huge.
huge, massive box of content, and it's like, oh my god, and it looks great. Like it looks really good.
I got my sorry, you what um interesting thing that happened. I got my Gen Con hotel booking instructions today.
Yeah.
For
Whoop, whoop.
February
Ready?
6th, I get to grab our rooms.
Let me know if you can
So.
get me a hotel at the Hyatt. I'll gladly take it from you.
The
If you get
Hyatt
any
is the
extras,
one that has the BGG Hot Games room.
that is correct.
That is the
Yeah,
luxury
if you can
place.
lend a hand.
Your minion already reached out.
Okay.
We always book our full maximum number of rooms because we
Yeah.
never know how many we'll need.
Yep.
And I already told your minion that if we have any left over,
Thank you.
You
It sucks not being an exhibitor.
you get first grabsies.
It sucks
So
being an exhibitor, not exhibitor, because basically we work. It's not for fun.
yeah.
Yet
It's weird. It's like they're
we're
slowly
treated
creeping
like
it back. Like it used to be middle of August, and it was like first week of August. Now it's like it's like end of July into August now.
what the date?
Yeah.
Oh, it's end of.
It's like Wednesday through Sunday, July 30th through August 2nd.
That reminds me, I have a grievance.
Right.
So I had a doctor's appointment last week, 2 weeks ago for my annual, and it was snowed and iced. So they canceled the appointment, right? They called me and they're like, "Oh, we got to cancel your appointment." So the next soonest time was going to be next week, February 3rd, 4th, something like that. They called me today and they're like, "We can't have the doctor's going to be out of the office and we can't have an appointment." That I'm like, "Okay, well, when's the next one?" May. I'm like, "What? How do we
That
go from
sucks.
January to February to May? Like, doesn't that seem odd? The timing?"
Yeah.
Luckily, I'm feeling okay. I don't have any pressing issues right now. Well, besides my normal crap. Nothing new. Anyway, it's a minor grievance. Just kind of sucks.
No,
Um.
I got the same thing with my kid with too, where it's like, when's the next date? It's like, oh,
Yeah,
wow,
months
that
away, right?
sucks. Yeah.
Like what? Huh? I mean, you live in a big city. You get. I mean, I guess. Are you in a big city or not?
200 and we're the second largest city in Indiana. I think it's like
Okay, so it's a
250
large
to
city.
350,000. It's not a lot, but it's not small, but it's not big.
Well, Dallas is like 8 million.
So that'd be big.
Yeah, it's big.
That doesn't make me small. Yeah.
Right. I would just. Yeah, I mean, I guess the problem is to get another doctor, you got to go through a bunch of shit. So you
Yeah.
just got to stick with the doctor you have, right? It's like I'm not going to change. Yes, Matt is not feeling well. He took off. He went to bed.
Um.
We'll miss him.
Gathering of
Next time.
Vikings is
Next week.
not this coming weekend, but the weekend after.
Super Bowl.
I've got your room
Are you
ready for you, Scott.
ready to go?
Yeah.
I'll send a car.
Well,
Oh, wait, no, you send me a car. Isn't
no,
that how
I'll
it
pick you.
works?
I'll pick you up at the airport. I got your room ready. So,
Yeah, I hear
yeah, I know you don't like flying. You're like
you. I don't.
B.A. Baracus. Don't like flying,
Did he
Hannibal.
not fly?
That was the whole thing in A-Team. You wouldn't fly, right?
Oh, so they just drove the van around all over?
No. They whenever he had to fly, they'd always they'd knock him out. They'd that was the running gag. They'd always they'd give him a shot, in the neck, and he'd pass out, and then they'd
Oh, just a minor little like tranquilizer.
yeah, they give him a little tranquilizer and knock him out. I ain't flying. I ain't flying, fool. It's like, and you remember the A-Team movie
No, I
from
never.
like
I didn't watch any A-Team, by the way.
no.
Like,
This is like
zero.
this is like a after the show when Hollywood ran out of ideas and they're like, what can we do? Well, let's make movies of 80s TV shows. And so they made an A-Team movie, and this is like 15 years ago now or whatever. And
It wasn't like with Bradley Cooper or something.
I think so. Yeah. Uh, but um, in the movie, they actually showed the background of why, because it shows up and BA's like he's a pilot and he's flying, no problem flying
Oh, I
whatsoever.
see. They show
And
the
then and then
backstory of
and then
why
you're
he
like,
hates
what's
flying.
going on? And then I forget the actual turn of events of the scene, but there's the scene basically he's either in a plane or a helicopter. Bad timing to tell the story, obviously. But and like I think it's a helicopter and it tips and like he falls out of it, but he manages to like grab like a rope or something that's dangling off the side of it. And so now he's like holding on for dear life, and the helicopter is going crazy and he's spinning around and around and he almost dies, and then like he gets back and of course he survives and he says, I'm never flying again. That's it's like, and then so it gave a background reason
I see.
as to why it filled out the lore, as they say, as the kids would
The
say in
lore of
these days.
A-Team.
The lore of the A-Team. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I didn't really watch it.
I remember they'd always, as a kid, even as a kid, I would watch them and they would shoot 1,000 machine gun bullets and nobody ever got shot.
And nobody died.
Nobody ever got shot.
What
Nobody
was
ever died.
wasn't there another G.I. Joe?
G.I.
Isn't that
Joe.
another one of those things where no one ever?
Well, the cartoons, yeah. I remember it. Well,
Yeah, the plane would get shot down, but
but the
then
guy would
you
always
see a
jump out.
parachute. You always see a parachute, so they're like, okay, they survived.
Um,
Like
yeah,
it was a
there'd be
battle of
like,
attrition. Just how much
yeah.
hardware could people blow up?
Uh, and um, yeah, and then and use it as a hot air balloon. There. Anyway, the the GI Joe, yeah, um uh they would just and the best thing that ever happened. Well, I shouldn't say best thing, but the GI Joe cartoon. Eventually, Cobra came up with the idea of, oh, we made these robot soldiers, and so then now the GI Joes could shoot them and they could explode because they're just robots.
I see.
I yeah, I just it's strange that I remember this stupid episode of the A-Team that she's referencing, that I remember it distinctly and perfectly. No, that was a big one. I mean, that the A-Team movie had its moments. It was it was funny or whatever. Like they're falling out of a cargo plane in a plane, and as they're falling, um like there's like planes trying to blow up the tank they're in because they jettison the parachutes or whatever, so it'll so they can land and they'll be okay. But then there's these planes, and so they actually start using the tanks machine guns and stuff to shoot down the planes that are trying to knock them out of the air in the movie. Yeah, it's I mean, it's not a great movie by any means, but it's
Is it brain candy?
yeah, I mean, it's like turn your brain off. Yeah. So I I mean, we were talking about like TV shows and stuff that we watch. I mean, and I know like Boris, you still go to the movies every once in a while, right?
Rarely, just because the cost, but yeah.
Well, it's not like the old days when you could just go to all the movies you wanted for
Yeah, what
nothing.
was that called? Movie Pass?
Nah, my wife doesn't like to do that. She doesn't want me to take my kids.
Well, wasn't it Movie Pass or whatever that you like?
Oh, I thought you were talking about movie hopping. Oh yeah, movie pass.
Movie hopping.
Movie hopping? You still do that?
No, my wife's not a fan. She won't let me do it with the kids either. I'm like, yeah, it's a victimless crime.
What about the Cokes?
Oh
Still
yeah, I
do
still
the
do
Coke
that.
thing?
Hell no, I'm
Just
not paying for
checking.
those cokes. Dig those out of the trash. Fill those up because they got the self serve. Clean it out in the
Oh, you still
bathroom.
do that? You still steal? You have no idea. You clean it before you use it?
You clean it out. Sometimes you can like destroy a little bit. Be like, yeah, can I get a new cup? Most of the time they'll do it because you got to realize most of the time they don't care. They don't care.
No, they won't. Um uh whatchamadig? Why can't I think? I I rewatched Manhunter, which was
Yeah, that was the first
the first movie
Hannibal Lecter.
the Hannibal Lecter movie that wasn't Hannibal Lecter, right?
Yeah, it wasn't him. It
And
was
and
it was it
it
was
started
Michael
I can't
Mann.
think of the actor's name, but he's
Yeah, the guy from CSI.
CSI.
I watched that way
CSI
back
guy.
in the day. I like that one.
McDonald or something.
Yeah, and so I watched that again,
Peter
and
McCullough.
I was absolutely appalled. I mean, I remember watching it like somebody was like, I remember when I worked at the video store, a buddy of mine said, yeah, the guy that worked at the video store with me, that was my
William
friend.
Peterson.
He's like, you should watch this. It's good. And I was like, really? And I remember,
Okay.
and I took it home and I watched it. This is before Silence of the Lambs came out.
Yeah.
And I was like,
You saw Silence of the Lambs and then went back to Manhunter?
no, I was. I saw
Yeah.
Manhunter, and then
Okay.
he's like,
You
because
saw
he
that
said,
first?
did you see that Silence of the Lambs movie's coming out? And I said, oh yeah, it's like a serial killer. Something. Yeah, he said you should watch Manhunter. It's like it's like a prequel to it, and I didn't realize it was actually a sequel or like
Yeah, it's a sequel.
well yeah, Silence of the Lambs is a sequel to uh Manhunter. But anyway, so I watched Manhunter, and I was like, wow, that movie was really cool. And then like when Silence of the Lambs came out, I was like, that movie's really cool too, and then whatever. Like the other movies were Red Dragon was okay. The remake of
I
Manhunter,
liked it.
basically. It wasn't as good.
I didn't
But
mind Red Dragon.
but the thing that really bothered me about Manhunter that I rewatched it, I was like, oh yeah, I remember I had only seen it the one time, and I was like, I should rewatch that. It was I was so annoyed by the fact that I understand you have to narrate what's going on without the player like but William Peterson is sitting there just basically talking through what he's doing. That's why you did it, you bastard. That's nobody would
Yeah,
do that.
he's narrating.
he's narrating what is going on. And I was like, nobody in the right. If somebody walked in on you, they'd say you are a Looney Tunes. Just like it's just sitting there talking to yourself about like that's how you got her to do it, didn't you? You sick bastard. Oh, what is just no, it was not. I mean, the pedals. Some of the pedals had fallen off the rose
Yeah.
between. I find as I get older, like obvious exposition dump scenes drive me absolutely crazy. And I am so impressed with movies that do it in ways that don't make it so blatant. I guess if that makes sense. Or oh, like or I like it when a movie does it in a way that like it comes off in conversation that sounds normal. Whatever, I forget what movie or whatever it was God, I forget what they were talking about, but they were talking about like how when you see two people and they're like two cops are driving in a car and one of them just mentions in like the first like 15 to 20 minutes of the movie, they're like, oh, check it out, that's that old steel mill that they were trying to build but it never got finished, it's just been sitting there abandoned for the last 50 years.
Oh,
Well, so obviously we're going to fight the
yeah,
serial killer in
like
the
Cobra.
final scene at the old steel mill.
Yeah, the old steel mill that's been abandoned for 50 years. Yeah.
I was just like, nobody would ever. Yeah,
I went
I
back and watched Twin Peaks.
mm,
I'm like almost done with it. Second season. That
um,
that thing loses steam after they reveal who Laura Palmer's killer
oh
is.
yeah, I mean
I mean,
it had that
it's
perfect
great up
carrot.
to this moment, and then you're like, oh, it's kind of like, I'm still watching it. I'm gonna remember all of it, but
So did you
it
ever
definitely it loses a little momentum.
did you ever watch the show Psych? I mean, you should. I mean, just because it is the first season's hit or miss, but after that they kind of catch their footing, and then it's just really, really good
Yeah, you've
characters.
talked about it.
But and everybody who does it, they love certain things about um they love certain things about certain movies, certain things, and they do a Twin Peaks themed episode
Oh, do they? Okay.
where they go to visit. I forget what but they basically no, it's called uh hold on a second, my son's going to bed. You going to bed? All right, good night, bud. Take your contacts out. Oh, I will. All right, love you. Good night. Good night, buddy. See you in the morning. Uh so God, what was I gonna say? Oh, so it's called like it's like Twin Pines or something like that. It's or
Okay.
like Double Pines or something like that. That's the name of the town or whatever. And they actually have like it's a murder and they're like of a young girl and they're trying to figure out what happened and they somehow went to this crazy and there's all and they use a lot of the same tropes. And one of the characters, like one of the side characters, uh is a priest, and it's the same actor who played Laura Palmer's father. Like that's in Psych, and he's in tons of episodes as this priest that like that he knows both of them because he knew them when they were kids. And but then he shows up because they call him to ask him some questions, and then he and then they get cut off and he gets worried, so he drives to the place to find out what's going on. And when he shows up, his because his hair is
Turns white.
like what?
Does it turn white?
Yeah, it turns white. And they're like, "What happened to your hair?" He's like, "Oh, I ran out of my." They actually, he's like, "Oh, I know, vanity is a sin. I just ran out of my hair color. I need to get it done when I get home." He's just like, they're all like,
Making fun of it.
"Oh yeah, no," and it's a very good homage to, and they show the town as
There,
being very quirky and weird, and
it's. I almost wonder if Kyle MacLachlan was younger than Sherilyn Fenn in that show, and she was theoretically in high school. Like he looks so young to me in that show.
David Duchovny had that role for a little bit.
Yeah, that was a good cameo or whatever he had there.
Yeah. Well, how many episodes? Like two, three?
Three. Yeah, he
Yeah.
shows up as a couple times. Yeah, because they're basically investigating him for the shenanigans across the border in Canada. You know,
Yeah.
that one-eyed Jacks. Um, I love the scene when he takes them out to the woods and they measure like 60 feet away to set up a bottle up on a tree stump, and he starts throwing rocks as the
Yeah.
Tibetan. I forget what he said. What does he call it? Tibetan. What is it? Uh, 'Cause, it's like He says the name to the rock and then he throws it, and if it hits the bottle, they like it could be the killer.
Yeah.
What does he call it? Now I want to look it
Date
up.
of birth for Sherilyn Fenn is 1965 year, February.
Okay.
David Duchovny is 1960.
What about
Is
Kyle MacLachlan?
I don't know. Wiki Kid's sharing the info with us, so I'm just reading off what she shares here.
The Tibetan method, a technique involving mind-body coordination. So great.
Trying to decide if I want to go to this. I want to watch this new movie by Steven Soderbergh
What is it?
called Presence. It's about like basically ghosts and living in a house and stuff like that.
Okay.
But it sounds like it's kind of a
5 years older. Okay. He didn't look that much older than her.
it it looks like it doesn't sound like it'd be the same like movie. Like I mean, it's not like I've never seen a Steven Soderbergh like scary movie or whatever. So I don't know. I mean, it's
Is it supposed to be scary?
I don't know. It's
I
about a
always
haunted
love
house.
when a director dabbles in a different genre.
You know what I thought
Yeah.
was scary? That movie that with
The
Sasha
Price
Grey.
of Eggs? No, sorry.
No, the Sasha Grey movie that he filmed. I thought it was terrible.
The Steven Soderbergh.
Yeah, didn't he filmed with that porn star?
Oh yeah, what was that freaking movie
That movie was
called?
awful.
It wasn't
Soderbergh,
good.
I was like, oh, Soderbergh could do no wrong. No, he can.
Yeah, the
It was,
movie's called Presence, is what it is. God, what was the name of that movie that
I
he
mean, I do
did?
love the Ocean's movie. Aren't they making a new Ocean's movie too? I thought
Yeah, the
Clooney was coming
girlfriend,
out of
the girlfriend
retirement.
experience
Real
was the
girlfriend
movie,
experience.
which
Yeah.
Did he
and they
do the
said
It
Lady
was not
Ocean's
it
movie?
was not good.
How was the ladies? Ocean.
I liked it. I
Was that a
liked it.
Soderbergh one, or
Yeah.
did somebody else direct that?
Oh no, yeah, I think so.
no, he only did Oceans 11, 12, and 13.
He didn't do the 7.
He didn't do the 7.
Okay.
I never saw the
I
7.
mean, I like Aaron Brockovich. I like Out of Sight.
Aaron
When I
Brockovich is
started
a good.
when I
Well, here, let's
when
go.
I yeah,
We'll
let's
start
go.
1989. Sex Lies and Videotape. I mean, if you were in 1989, I was 17. Yeah, I had to watch it. You know, just like because
I think
the
I've
name.
seen that. Who the hell's in that? Sex Lies and Videotapes.
It's the Blacklist guy. What's his name?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
What's his name?
I know you're talking
Ultron.
about.
He played Ultron. Spader, James Spader.
Yeah, James Spader.
Like a really young James Spader. Do you have his
So
discography or videography up? Videography?
yeah, I have it up.
Okay.
Uh, it's a weird movie.
It is
No, I
weird.
haven't seen that. Think of something different.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and obviously it was provocative,
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
Well,
for the
I don't
time,
know.
I think it was like it was pretty unique, right? Because
yeah, it totally was. Okay, then he did Kafka in 1991.
never saw that.
Nope.
Never saw that either. 1993, he did King of the Hill.
I did see that, and I don't think I liked it.
Okay. 1995, The Underneath. I
Uh,
vaguely remember seeing this. Starred Peter
don't think I saw-
Gallagher. It was like a crime movie.
I never saw that one.
It wasn't great. I'll tell you that much. It was, but I remember seeing it was like one of those like because I worked at the video store, just like, oh, I'll just watch this. A surrealist experimental comedy film in 1996 with the non-linear narratives called Schizopolis. Never seen it.
Never saw that.
Yeah, an 80-minute concert film called Grey's Anatomy. Never saw that. But
I've
then,
seen that. I've seen that a few times actually. It's pretty
oh
interesting.
really?
That guy Spalding Gray is yeah, he's an interesting dude. He was like he was a writer, uh, and he would write these monologues, and they basically filmed it in front of an audience, right? And it was like turned into a movie. It's really it's worth watching. I think it's Swimming to Cambodia.
Mm.
He did another movie called Swimming to Cambodia. Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Um, right. Well,
Out of Sight.
Out of Sight, which is great.
It just 10 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
10 out of 10, perfect movie. Love it. Every part of it. Everything.
Way better than it deserved to be. If that
Exactly.
makes
You're like, and J-Lo's in it too, and she's pretty good.
yeah. I mean, that might have been like she should have just been in that movie and been done.
No more movies after that.
Yeah, no more movies after that.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
don't
she was
think
pretty good as Selena.
I never saw Selena.
neither did I. And then he did The Limey, which I
The
really
Limey is
like.
fantastic. Yes.
The
fantastic.
Limey is and people are like I don't get it. And it's just like there's so many scenes in that movie that are just
Yeah, it's a non-linear. It's one of those weird like flashback movies, right? Like
yeah, and which
you
and Out
don't
of Sight
know.
was too. And
Yeah, that was yeah.
and also you're like unsure of the narrative, right? You don't
Yeah,
really
you don't know. Yeah, it's you have to piece it together a little bit.
exactly. And then you're trying and then Peter Fonda was really good.
It was great.
Yeah, it was really
Cool.
good. I mean, and like the one
It's
scene,
one
I
of the
mean,
best revenge movies ever.
oh yeah, totally. And then there's so many scenes in that movie that I like, that I really
Like,
like. The two scenes I like the most are when he says he needs a gun, and they said, "Well, we'll get somebody for you." And then you see him, and he's sitting at the park bench, and then the camera goes down, so you can't see anything. And then like somebody comes and sits down on the other side of the park bench, and he hands over the sack of cash. And then this hand takes the cash, and then it hands back another like a piece of cloth that the gun's wrapped up in, and he takes it, and it's a gun, and then he takes it, and then the camera pans back, and you see he's sitting there with like a 13-year-old kid that he's buying the gun from, and I've always just that's like it was like it totally like spins you. You're like, holy shit, and then you look and they're like at a park with kids playing and stuff like that, and you just bought a gun off this kid. And the other scene is, of course, when he goes back to that warehouse to go ask the guys what's going on, and and then
they tried to beat him up.
well, no, they do. They beat
They
him
do
up.
beat him up.
They
Yeah,
beat him up.
he's like looking into the place, and they beat him up.
Well, it's like, and then they beat him up, and they throw him out, and they take because he had two guns, I remember, and like they take the one gun. He's like, "What were we gonna do with this? How are we gonna do with this?" And they kind of shove him to the ground, and then they leave, and then he stands up and he takes the other gun out, and you just see him walk back into the warehouse, and then what the fuck? And then
Yeah,
blam, 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 and then you see the one guy running out who's got a gunshot in his shoulder,
Yeah.
and he just follows him out, and he goes, "You tell him I'm coming." Just like I mean,
Terry Benedict. You tell Terry Benedict I'm coming for him. Something like
yeah,
that.
just
The,
that
the,
was
the scene that I remember from that movie is when he goes to the guy's party. He's having that party or whatever.
yes,
And he just like kills a guy at the party.
yeah,
He kills the bodyguard. He like tops him over the, because they're like they're on like a cliffside in
yep,
California, like a fancy house, like amazing. Pops him
yeah,
pops him over the edge, and
yep,
then leaves.
Um,
Anyway, that's a really good
so
movie.
yeah, track down the Limey. It's worth a watch. Aaron Brockovich, great movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really good. I mean, I think I've only seen it one time too, and I'd like it. I don't.
Yeah,
I feel like I could have watched it again, maybe.
Yeah, you know how it ends, though.
You do,
Yeah.
but sometimes it's fun. Like I know how the Limey ends too, but I
I
watched
know,
it
that was a joke.
5 times. Yeah, I know. There's
Traffic?
something about Traffic's really good. I like
Traffic's really good.
I love Traffic. Should have
and
won the
then-
Oscar, though.
Yeah. Ocean's 11.
One of my favorite movies.
Spectacular.
You could throw that movie
I love
on
it.
anytime, and it
Yeah, you just
Some-
keep watching it.
the dialogue is so perfect. The little tiny I mean, I know we've talked about tons of these things, but like the whole thing, like when Brad Pitt went and asked anybody, "What's it like to work for Steven Soderbergh?" and they said it's grueling. Like you're on set for hours and hours and hours, and you never get to take a break. And it's just like, and he keeps you there forever. And he's like, I remember then somebody told him, he's like, I remember I had to go. I went 11 hours without eating because you couldn't go anywhere, and I had my make. And so
Wasn't he
when-
always eating though in those?
well, no,
scenes?
so that's what he said. So when he got like Steven Spielberg said, you need something for your character, something that he's like, I want to just be always eating, and that's what. And he's so like that's why he's always like got nachos, or he's got like a taco that he's or a
That's
burrito that he's
great.
munching on. That's Brad Pitt did that on purpose.
It feels like such a Brad Pitt move.
Oh, and also, okay, so I know all because I've watched Ocean's 11 probably 100 times, and I've watched it with the
Commentary?
the commentary on.
Ooh.
So when
I've never seen the
you
commentary.
so you'll see Brad Pitt and you'll see like you never see him without his shirt off or anything like that, but you can see he's got the hint of a tattoo. Like you'll see it, it comes down like it's like it's like you'll see it coming from his cuffs or whatever. You can just see a little tiny bit of it. He purposely said, "Give me the same tattoo that George Clooney had in From Dusk Till Dawn." Like the giant flame tattoo that went
Yeah.
up and around his shoulder. So like that's the tattoo that Brad Pitt has, but you don't ever get to see all of it. You just get to see a little tiny bits of it. That's so he did that on purpose. And then uh what was some of the like there's little scenes where it's like when he goes to visit Saul, Carl Reiner, rest in peace. He goes to visit Saul at the dog track, and they're sitting there and he's like, and they go to the and you see him, and after he tells him, there's like, are you gonna tell me what the job is or what? And then the
Treat me
music
like an
kind of,
adult,
yeah, the music or the sound
a
goes up,
grown
and
up.
so
You're
you
gonna
see
treat
him,
me like a grown up.
and he sits there and he whispers in Saul's ear, and then he gets up and walks away, and then you see him and Saul, and then you just see Saul from behind, and you see him, and he drops all of his tickets, all his betting tickets down, and you can see like all the dogs run by, and then one singular dog runs by, and you realize that's Saul's
Yeah,
dog.
that's his dog.
That's
Yeah.
his dog that he bet on. Um and some of that dialogue is just perfect too, where it's just like where does he make you laugh? He doesn't make me cry. It's just like, I mean, oh, that's when the guy walks up at the table, he's like, "Can I get you a drink, sir?" Yeah, and he holds up and he goes, "Yeah, I need whiskey." Whiskey.
We need whiskey and whiskey.
Yeah, whiskey.
Yep,
And um and he's just like, are you, and then when Terry Benedict shows up and he says, he's like, um, are you enjoying your stay? He's like, well, I took some
Oh, so
towels.
is the name the same? Terry Benedict? Is that
Terry Benedict is the
is
name
that the
of
limey guy too?
I don't know. I'd have to look
Isn't
up
it the
Terry
Benedict? I feel like I said Terry Benedict,
Yeah, he did. And then,
but I thought,
um,
yeah, maybe. Let me see if they have the character names. Terry
uh,
Valentine.
Terry Valentine.
It's pretty similar though.
It is very similar.
That's Peter Fonda's character, Terry Valentine.
Yeah. Yeah, just, I mean, Ocean's 11, great movie. Great movie. So Full Frontal, I never saw it.
I didn't either.
Full Frontal. That sounds familiar.
As a
So,
sequel to Sex, Lies, and Videotapes.
So Solaris, I watched that and I really enjoyed it.
Wait, is that the one with the?
I like it too.
Is that the one where he swims across with Jude Law? No, that's not
That's
it.
sci-fi. He's in space.
No, it's a sci-fi space station.
It's a very cool sci-fi, and like it's so weird, but
so
yeah, I mean, I like Solaris, but I don't think most people do.
So the weird thing about Solaris is that it's like sci-fi, but it's just kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. It's more of a thinky than it's
a thinker.
like it's a thinker.
Not an action movie.
No, it definitely is not.
I always wanted to watch the original Solaris, the Russian version. People say that's better, but
so I read a thing. Steven Soderbergh said, and this is what he honestly said. He said, I wanted my Solaris. He said, I wanted it to be a movie that basically, if you could make it through the first 20 minutes without walking out, you'd enjoy the movie. Like, he knew going into it, like, it would be super slow and people would be like, what is going on? There's nothing happening.
Yeah.
I'm so bored. And then he basically, I mean, I was like, that was weird. I mean, that's bold, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
Ocean's 12, which was definitely a step back.
It was fine.
Still great.
It's a C
okay.
plus. It's a C plus.
Yeah.
I definitely could spend worse times watching a movie.
I can think of a lot.
I mean, if it's on, I'll watch
I
it.
would not watch it over.
But I mean, Ocean's 11, we can all agree, is just a freaking banger. I mean, it's just an absolute banger. And
that's
Ocean's
why I'm like
12,
hoping another one comes. Hoping I'm gonna do another one.
And then The Good German, 2006. Never saw it.
Was that the spy thriller with Tom Hanks?
The Good German had George Clooney in it again.
Kate Blanchett.
And then we
Gosh,
have Ocean's 13, which was
it says I watched it, but I don't think I
if it
have.
goes A plus, 12 is a C plus, and this is like a solid B.
Which
It
one?
was Ocean's 13.
I like it.
I
I'll
mean,
watch.
it was
I like
definitely
it.
an attempt
Yeah,
to return
it's
to
basically
Ocean's 11.
yeah. Basically, they veered off course and they came back.
Yeah, and so they
I like the whole like uprising in Mexico thing.
yes. Yes, that was good.
That's so great.
Um
Revolution.
Shay Part 1 and Shay Part 2 never saw 'em.
Never saw those.
That just to quote Peter Griffin, it insists upon itself. It was just like that's what it felt like to me. I mean, it's just like I don't have any interest to watch something this in depth. All right. So then we have the girlfriend experience, which we've already discussed, is
Yeah, I'm not a
horrible.
fan. 5 out of 10.
Yeah. Um. Then we have The Informant, starring Matt Damon.
Oh, I love that one.
Gosh, I meant to watch that. I never did. It's not highly rated.
It's not highly rated.
I wouldn't mind to watch it though.
I'm a Matt Damon fanboy.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. I love
So
him.
I remember, God, what was I forget what movie it was. It was like a Lord of the Rings movie, or it might have been a Star Wars movie or whatever. But like you went there for opening night, midnight showing, crowd is full, just like um there was uh um Forrest, you'll know this. What was the name of like the rapper that went by like Little or Kid, whatever, and then when he got older, he dropped a Little or Kid.
Talking about Little Bow Wow. Went to Bow Wow, the actor. He's in Sebastian. He was in the basketball.
Wasn't he in like Be Like Mike or something like that?
Yeah, that's Little Bow Wow to turn it to Bow Wow.
So yeah, he turned into Bow Wow.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, okay. So he was in the movie Like Mike as the kid because he got a hold of the his shoes or whatever, and then they gave him the power or whatever to. So all right, so that movie was in. I gotta do backwards. It's a 2002 movie. So what either Star Wars movie or Lord of the Rings movie came out in 2002?
Yeah,
Or Two
the
Towers.
first one, Fellowship, wasn't it?
Fellowship was earlier. I think it was 2001. I think it was 2001, 2002, 2003.
So
I saw the last one in junior year. Yeah, I think you might be right.
So the reason I say this is, and I know this is very
Well, 2002 is when Two Towers came out. Lord of the Rings was 2001.
So 2002 was so Matt Damon was in he was in a movie in 2002. I'm trying to pull up his filmography.
Was he in the Bourne movies in 2002?
So 2002 it would probably be Bourne Identity. That's got to be it.
Oh, that first one was so damn good.
All right. And I'm telling a story where I was really cool, so I apologize for that. So you're talking about, but this is like, I literally had a crowd eating out of my hands where it was like, it was 2002. It's like the Two Towers midnight showing, packed IMAX screen, whatever, 200 people in the thing. Everybody's just like on pins and needles. They let us in at like 11, so we've been sitting there for an hour. Everybody's like juiced up on caffeine and popcorn and candy. We're all getting excited about it. Lights go down, everybody screams and yells, they're having a blast or whatever. And then it was like, okay, all of a sudden then they started doing the previews. And we're sitting there and everybody's like, okay, they're going through previews. And I forget what the first preview was, but it was something like, I think it was like the Matrix, the new Matrix movie. And everybody went batshit crazy. Like everybody cheered like crazy. It got done. Yeah, and everybody's just like, yeah. And then the next one was another movie. I forget what it was, whatever. And the next one was and that one was another movie. Everybody was like, yeah, everyone went crazy. And then they did the Bourne Identity movie. and like, and they did the whole thing, and it showed him being a badass or whatever, and it was like, and then it got done, and everybody was just kind of like, huh? And I yelled out from my seat, Matt Damon. Like, everybody laughed, had a good time. We all laughed or whatever. And then they showed the little like Mike was the next preview. There was like the last. It was like 6 previews or it's the last preview. And they get through the whole movie, and you could have heard a pin drop in the entire thing. And I just stood up and I was like, "Fuck yeah!"
You did not.
Yeah, I did.
I've done some stuff like that before
They
too.
put a
It's
Mike-
okay
they
during
put
the
a-
previews.
They put a
Nobody's
like
mad during
Mike
the
movie
previews.
ahead of the Lord of the Rings.
No, that was like the last one. I remember I stood up and
Yeah.
I was like, "Fuck yeah, I'm going to that!" And everybody laughed. And I just we were all. I mean, I was just it was one
It's
of
a
those
midnight
things where,
showing. You assume it's adults, even though you know it's not.
yeah, and plus you were like, I was.
You're
I mean,
that
you're
age,
just
you'd
you're
give a
riding
shit.
on
Were you
like lack
drinking
of
too?
maybe, but I mean, but we were riding on lack of sleep, and like I said, you gotta you were waiting outside how long and the whole
The
nine
20
yards.
aughts were a different time.
It was it was it
Way
was a
different.
simpler time. I mean, crap, I wasn't I was 5 years away from being a dad, so I mean, it was like forever. So
Different life ago.
it was.
Older you get, the more you realize that expression. I used to hear that all the time. Be like, what the hell does that mean? Now it's like, oh, I get it now.
Was I 20? Yeah, I would have been 30 years old at that time. Yeah. Take that. All right, getting back to the Steven Soderbergh experience here. All right, we did Contagion, Haywire.
I liked
Haywire?
Contagion.
Contagion was good. I'll agree.
Scary.
Haywire.
I watched Haywire. I started Haywire a few times and I just turned it off. I couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
That's Gina Carano, right? Like the
Yep, exactly.
like a wrestler.
And then we had Magic Mike, which I never saw, but apparently everybody loved it.
I
My
did
wife
not
says
see
it's
Magic
amazing.
Mike. Never saw Magic.
Side Effects.
My father-in-law says it's amazing, and he's like, "Have you watched Side Effects yet?" I'm like, "Have you watched Side Effects yet?" I'm like, "No, I need to watch
Stars
it."
Rooney Mara as a woman who is prescribed experimental drugs by psychiatrists after her husband is released from prison.
I should go back and watch that. I think I've got it in my digital library.
Yeah. Behind the Candelabra, a biographical comedy about
Yeah, wasn't that
Lawrence
Liberace?
Welk? Or Liberace.
Liberace. I never saw it. With Matt Damon,
Yep.
Michael Douglas.
Yep.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
Logan Lucky, 2007
Very
American heist
disappointing.
comedy.
Very disappointing.
I've
Was
never
that the one
seen
with
it.
the all the people in it?
Yes, everybody. If you
I
read off
love
the
that
cast list, you're
movie.
like, this should be amazing.
That was the serial killer one?
Channing Tatum, Adam Driver, Daniel Craig.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
Really? Didn't do anything for me.
Nope,
I was
nope,
just like,
wrong movie. Never mind. Take
Oh, yeah.
backsies. Never watched
Oh,
it.
it's like a
Excellent.
NASCAR thing. I don't know. There's like it just
Oh, I did see that
the
movie.
NASCAR race. They're like
I've
they're
thought
doing a
about
heist
watching that
during
movie
the
so many
NASCAR.
times.
No, it's just not. It just I don't like.
It was
I
it
don't
was
like
all
Daniel
over.
Craig's
It was all
fake
over itself.
Southern accent,
Yeah.
but he does it in the Glass Onion or whatever it's called,
Yeah.
I love me some Daniel Craig.
or House of Knives or whatever it's called. House of Knives.
No, both of them.
Yeah,
All right. And then we had Unsane. Never seen it.
I never saw that.
High Flying Bird.
That's the name of the movie?
Is
High
that?
Flying Bird. It was a
Mike?
Netflix American sports drama film.
I did not see that.
The Laundromat, an American comedy drama film, also on Netflix.
I am out of touch with these Soderbergh movies.
Yeah. Let Them All Talk.
Nope, haven't seen it.
I've heard of it, never saw it. No Sudden Move. Starring Don Cheadle, Benicio del Toro, John Hamm, David Harbour.
I mean, the plot sounds interesting. I know. Here's how did I not see this? 2021, because I guess it was pandemic, right? In 1954 Detroit, small-time criminals are hired to steal a document. When their heist goes horribly wrong, their search for who hired them and for what purpose sends them winding through all echelons of the race-torn, rapidly changing city.
That sounds good.
That sounds good, but it's not. It doesn't have good rank ratings.
Yeah, heist and historical gets me all hot and bothered.
And then we have Kimmy with Zoe Kravitz, who is amazing.
Zoe Kravitz. Who's that? Zoe Kravitz.
That'd be Lenny Kravitz's daughter.
She was
what
in
else is she in?
Batman.
She was in Batman.
I haven't seen the new one.
Really?
Yeah, me and my wife, we just don't watch movies at all. She's exhausted.
I don't love it.
I've heard nothing but good things.
Well, I mean, I'll talk about the Batman and what I have problems with the Batman for why. But I still think, and I want more movies made in that world, right?
Yeah, but they should be less long.
That
movie.
Then
just when you think that movie's over, it's got like another hour. It's so long.
That's fair. Magic Mike's Last Dance. Did not see it. And then we have Presence, which, as I said before, is the supernatural thriller drama film starring Lucy Liu, Chris Sullivan. Basically, like the people buy a house and it's got like a poltergeist inside of it, and yeah. So, and I've it's one of those things like somebody said, well, don't read anything about it. Just go into it blind. Yeah. So
did I not just watch the preview?
I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to
official trailer for January. It's already out.
Was there some mockery?
Well, it is already out, right? And I've heard like nothing about it, which tells me that like if I wait a month, it'll be on streaming somewhere. So I mean, I'll be able to watch it, for nothing on HBO Max or something. So, I'll wait patiently and go from there. That kind of thing.
It says Steven Soderbergh's best. What did they say here?
Well, I mean, the Ocean's 11.
Well, it's one of the pull quotes. It's one of the pull quotes. Steven Soderbergh's best combination of. Oh my god, I can't read it. Too slow, too fast. Best combination of form and function. That does not sound great.
Yeah, it feels like one of those quotes I see on a Kickstarter where a content creator doesn't want to give an opinion.
Flips the haunted house subgenre on its head.
I just love when I see those quotes and it's like, you're just describing the game.
It expands the possibility of cinema. How is that even possible? A uniquely haunting ghost story.
Unique could mean it's uniquely
horrible. It terrifies you, then leaves your heart on the floor.
Oh.
One of the scariest movies you'll see this year. It's January, by the way.
Yeah, it's a pretty bold claim to make in January.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I have it's old, but yeah, I'm sure everybody knows it. X-Men 97 Spectacular. We just finished that. And Agatha All Along is one of my favorite Marvel things I have seen in quite some time.
The what?
Agatha All Along, the TV show about it is. Because we still watch all the Marvel series, we still watch all the Star Wars series as a family, and they've been okay. But this one was like, oh damn, this one got me excited. It got the entire family excited for Captain America. It's like, all right, they can make good stuff still. Good, let's go. Highly recommend Agatha All Along if you're burnt out on Marvel.
Captain America coming out?
February, I think it's Valentine's, maybe? I think it's 14.
I predict failure with that movie. It does it looks good, but not that good.
I would need to see. I mean, what defined failure? Like that's hard for Marvel.
Not 100 million or something.
Oh no, I think it'll do way better than that. I think just coming out on Valentine's Day, I think you'll have enough people who are just like, yeah, let's go see that. Like I like Anthony Mackie, even though his comments about taking the America out of Captain America, whatever that was, I don't think that was a good play for the movie.
What did he say?
He said something along the lines of
torpedoed it.
No, it was more along the lines of, I don't remember the exact quote, but it was along the lines of, the number one thing I would take away from the name Captain America is not the America, or something along those lines. It wasn't like a full shot at America, but it was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know that, like, if I were working on that movie, it'd be like, maybe we save that until, a week and a half after it's released or something. Not in the lead up. I'm excited for it. I think the trailers look pretty good, and I do love Anthony Mackie, and I'm excited to see what they do with Harrison Ford being the Red Hulk.
Yeah.
But yeah, Agatha all along. If you burn out on Marvel and you still like Marvel, it does not feel like Marvel at all. It doesn't really connect to anything, it feels like, for the most part, except for like, the TV show WandaVision. It's totally different WandaVision, but I would recommend it. I enjoyed it. Every episode I was excited to watch. Except for, I think there was one that wasn't great, but other than that, I think it was really solid, if I recall correctly.
Well, did you guys see the trailer for the new Daredevil season? You should go watch that.
I never watched the originals. It was on me and my wife's list, but we just never watched
Oh my
it.
gosh, it's
I
so
know.
good. The original
Yeah.
Daredevil that was on.
I dabbled in the universe and I like what I saw. It's just my wife is exhausted. We don't watch anything anymore.
Well, you should just watch it yourself. No, but new season of Daredevil. They're bringing back the actor who played him.
The Kingpin.
Yep, you're the same guy.
D'Onofrio.
There and Punisher actor is back. Is Frank Castle.
Deborah's in it.
Who? Oh, is she the new? Is she the new Hawkeye?
No.
I like her. I hope she's in it.
Well, Evan's here. We can play initials.
What up?
Yeah.
What up?
Hello, Evan.
No.
Here we go.
Oh, it's so scary.
What's so scary?
D'Onofrio, Vincent D'Onofrio.
Oh, they're talking about Evan.
No.
Hello.
Yeah, this looks cool. I'll watch it. I mean, I like the original Daredevil.
All right, here we go.
I never saw the sequel one.
I like the movie with Ben Affleck. I did. That was good. I enjoyed
He
it.
died, by the way.
And
Ben
Affleck
Affleck?
died?
No,
Oh.
it's part of it's a joke from Deadpool.
Uh,
Have
Fair
you
enough.
seen the Deadpool versus Wolverine?
It's on me and
I
my
didn't
wife's
see that
list
one.
to watch.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
Next on our list.
I want to say something, but it's super spoiler. I shouldn't say it.
Yeah,
All
I'd
right.
appreciate not.
But it's a different.
The initials tonight will be B R.
Alright.
Was that B or V?
B as in
Bravo?
Got it.
Bravo?
Bravo. Yeah, we'll go with Bravo.
Oh, Scott Demers.
Oh, I'm taking a
Oh,
shot on
Scott's
one.
here. He made it just in time. Hey, Scott. Did your lady come home?
Is the Kickstarter done?
It is.
Pretty good ending. Pretty good amount.
Yeah, they did excellent. He can't hear us apparently.
I don't think you can hear us.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
What up?
Hold on.
Sorry, I had my speaker set wrong.
You're fine.
Hey, sorry I'm late. Can you guys start over?
Ah,
Oh,
That's-
yeah,
that's
let's go
kinda
back
funny.
to the beginning. I looked up some stuff. Let's talk.
no.
Yeah.
No. You know.
Look at that. What's
I just love the fact that it started off like, all right, we're talking about politics. Like, nope, we're done. We're done.
yeah, exactly.
That was a mistake.
I disagree. I think it was fun. I think it's enjoyable. I'm now more educated too.
You ended up 185 grand. Well done, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice.
More than the first one?
Yeah, we did 118 on the first one. And in this one, we were most of our sales were the expansion, which was $50, right? And then we didn't have core games available for sale on the campaign, like standard edition core games. So that is purely 185 on all-ins and expansions. So
That's awesome, man. 185. That'll get it done.
Yeah, and we drove quite a bit of sales on the web store, and then is one thing, and then finally, we have. It's kind of a bummer. The biggest thing that was a downer for me on the campaign was that um, we had 100 copies of the game that were pledged for on the first campaign by a distributor in Europe, and then they didn't pick them up. And
Oh,
then so when they finally did have them sent, it was after the first of the year because we launched our campaign in January, thereby resulting in all kinds of customs delays. Now we fully expected those games to be available at friendly local game stores, right? But instead, they're sitting in customs somewhere in the EU. And so we have a whole bunch of $1 pledges from overseas where they're waiting to, they're like, hey, I'm going to hold off and see if I can get the core game, because why would I buy the expansion if I can't get the core game?
pretty sound logic.
I don't blame. My heart goes out, man, and I kind of got savaged by some people, but when they were
Savage.
truly, like I was called some pretty nasty things, but the reality is I recognize all of them were just people who want to get the game, and I want them to get the game. I worked on this game for 20 years. I want people to see the game, right? So, it's all good. I'm happy. So there you go.
I'm gonna hold on. I gotta grab a drink. I'm thirsty. We're gonna tell them the initials.
Oh, did I just get
BR, as in
BR.
Baby Reynolds.
Bravo Romeo.
son of a bitch?
Wherefore Bravo Romeo?
I was hoping I was getting here after this was already done.
Starting.
I know.
You missed politics, wrestling, Steven Soderbergh's discography, and Ardia. That's about it.
Iridia.
Aridia.
Iridia. Yes, you still have really high praise for it, Aldi?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's high praise.
My one criticism, if I'm gonna make a criticism, is the cards are a little cumbersome.
Like
It's
fiddly
like-
cumbersome, you mean?
It's 3 decks. It's 3 boxes of cards, and
Yep.
you'll open a map and it'll say get foe 32, POI 1 or 5 or whatever, and then
Yeah.
EVT 13, and like, okay. I
Oh
got
wow.
Do you
Yeah.
think
Like
there's a
So then
better
you got
system?
1,000, like
How,
1,000
Yeah,
how
baby.
would you improve the system?
Squirt 0, baby.
app
Ooh, that was good. Oh, you did mention that, the app.
or
Yeah,
book.
but then you get people going out of
App
their
or
way.
book for the narrative parts, because
You
some of the
did
cards are
mention
just narratives, and you're like, oh, I gotta dig it out, and then you do the narrative thing, and it's like, well, now I gotta put the card back in,
Yeah.
But
There used to be a.
But there is clever things with the game. It evolves, right? Like you exhaust a narrative part, and it'll say, put this in the inactive card and put the B version of the card in, or the C version, or the D.
That's
Like
cool.
they change.
That's
there's
cool.
there's recurring characters that have plot lines that keep going.
That's
which is
pretty cool.
That's super cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. My nitpicking is just very, very minor.
Yeah. That's
Yep.
pretty cool.
The game is amazing.
Well, the important part is that nobody has ever nitpicked anything having to do with Dragons Down. So
Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
that's
sarcasm.
So
The robot-
this is Squirt 0. This is the
Exactly.
best. This is
I'll be right back, Lance. I'm sorry. I got it.
that's fine. You're fine.
I'll be right
And
back.
this is the best 0-calorie grapefruit flavored soft drink in the world.
Is it the only 0-calorie grapefruit flavored drink in the world?
You can get Diet Fresca, which is also grapefruit flavored.
Did I
Yeah.
tell you about grapefruit last week? This is, what is it? A grievance. What's the opposite of grievance? What the hell we call them? I had
A
euphoria.
pleasance.
I had such an amazing pleasance. I went shopping with my daughter, and it was just me and her. And it was like, I was just like, you want to get some fruit? And they didn't have any mango. And I was like, yeah, just pick out some random. She picked out these giant ass grapefruits. I was like, okay, whatever. I don't think anybody's gonna like it. We'll try them out. They're like $3. I've hated grapefruit my entire life. I think it tastes bitter, terrible. And I always try stuff. Loved it. I love grapefruit. Fucking love grapefruit. I'm a grapefruit fan. I've had like 20 since I found out a week and a half ago. Like I am all like, and I used to hate them. I used to hate them.
Then
Always
you should-
try to see if your taste buds change.
You should drink a Squirt 0, baby.
That sounds good. Like I was excited for Squirt 0, period, but you told me it was grapefruit. Yeah.
So
Keep my eyes open.
there was a There was a Mexican restaurant in town, and it closed years and years and years ago. But the place was called Chi-Chi's here in Fargo.
Oh, Chi-Chi's. That was a chain. We had one.
Yep.
Remember, Scott, you'll remember since you lived in my area. Remember, it was right next to Valentino's.
I know exactly where it is. I could drive there right now from Denver.
Well, it doesn't exist anymore. Chi-Chi's Paradiso is still exists. Sadly, Mexican Village closed last year.
Oh no.
Oh
These
no.
are like
Oh no.
tragedies.
Oh
So
yeah.
that but hey,
Oh,
you know what's
yeah.
crazy? That Main Avenue Mexican
Yep.
Village.
Yep.
You know exactly the one.
Uh-huh.
That is now the best comic book / role-playing game / game store in town called Paradox Comics and Cards.
Oh, that's cool. So it wasn't
Yeah.
a total loss.
No.
Yeah, that's the worst when you get older. The place just shut down where me and my wife took our first date, and it was like our date night spot. We've been there 20, 30 times. And it wasn't surprising because it's been getting shittier and shittier over the last 10, 11 years, but it was just like, man, I guess.
Well, they hit a highlight, right? With your first date, and then from there it was all downhill.
Right.
There
My
was
wife
nowhere
and
to
I's
go.
first date was like we decided we'd go out and grab something to eat, but she had to wait until she was done working because we both worked at US Bank. She was done working earlier than me, and I had to work till 9. And I said, well, when I get done, I'll head over to Denny's. You know, you want to describe it? And so that was the first time we ever hung out. It was my night that I normally went out to the bar to drink with my buddies. And then they were like, hey, you coming out? And I was like, yeah, I'll be there, 11 midnight, something like that. Yeah, I didn't. And I ended up sitting there talking to a pretty lady for like 5 hours. And just,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Those are the
Pretty
best
good.
feelings in the world. Like when it's just, and it doesn't matter if you end up being with them or not. Just like it's like you could, like I remember some of those. Like I remember one woman I talked to in a Meijer. It's just like we just didn't want the night to end, so we sat in a Meijer for which is like a Walmart pretty much if you're not familiar, for like 2 hours on this outdoor patio, like just swinging chair for 2 hours talking because we didn't want the night to end.
So that's
young.
it's like Meijer, right?
Meijer, yep,
Yeah,
pretty much
so-
a Walmart clone.
So nice, all these.
Does anybody-
So we would
Does anybody
always
drink waters?
yeah.
Waters.
I've never
I've
seen
had those
those.
This is the best
Seen
flavor
them.
they
Oh
make.
yeah, you posted that on Facebook, didn't you?
Yeah,
This
I've
is the
seen
I
best.
wanted to try those.
I've tried
So-
at least 7 flavors. This is the best.
One of the things when I had to do boring old customer service at US Bank, we had places they would call in and say, yeah, what were like my last 10 transactions on my credit card? And we get there, and we knew it was pronounced Meyer, but whenever we had it, me and my buddy Ben, we would always you had a charge at Meijer for $19.04. You had another charge at Meijer and then some of them would actually say it's pronounced Meyer. Oh, I'm sorry. And then you had a charge at a gas station for $11. Oh, and here's a charge at Meijer for $43. You took your joys where you could find them when you're.
So, yeah, I was gonna say it's little things in life.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, the whole point about Chi-Chi's was like you'd go there for their Mexican buffet, which was like you could make your own tacos and stuff. It was just great. And then you get a soda with it. They were like the only place in town ever. They had Squirt fountain soda. Like nobody else had it, but they did. And I was like, oh man, I can't wait to go to Chi-Chi's on Sunday for their Mexican buffet, and I can drink all the Squirt I want.
Dude, those Mexican buffets are the best. Oh.
Dude, I will always remember the giant nachos you made at when we went to
Those
the
are so
Alliance trade
good.
show. I wish that we were back in the day where we had more pictures, because the Alliance trade show is always held in Fort Wayne, Indiana, which is where Forrest lives. And he was kind enough to show up and like help me demo like dungeon roll to people. And there were 2 things at the Alliance trade show: open bar, which both Forrest and I took advantage of. That you just go, yeah, give me another Miller, or give me another beer. And also they had if you had a booth, you could go and like they had meals. And like one time they basically had a nacho bar, and I got some nachos or whatever, and
It was
And then-
top deck.
But
Top Deck Nacho Bar.
freaking he would come
Different
back
types of
with a
meat,
bowl,
cheeses.
and
Oh,
it was like
God.
this thing. It was like this mound, and it wasn't. And he would eat it all, and then he'd go back and get another one. It's just like he's like, I can have as many of these as I want. I was like, yeah, you can have as many as you want. He's like, oh my gosh, do people know that you can have as many? It was just like,
And I can still turn on the 300-pound mode when I get hungry.
so, all right, here we go. The initials are Bravo Romeo BR.
Putting that one in my back pocket.
Oh, hey Scott, do me a favor. Tell me how soon after your campaign ended was it that you got your first email from somebody saying, "Oh, hey, I missed the campaign. Can I still get in?"
Under 3 minutes.
Yep, that's awesome.
That's
All right, here we go. Debuted in 1959. Number 2 is an adoptive parent. Clue number 3. Commonly seen wearing blue.
Evan.
Go.
Betty Rubble.
Betty Rubble is
Money.
correct. Well done, sir. Well
Oh,
done.
yeah,
Were
Anthony
you sitting on
answered.
that one?
I was.
She was hot.
That blue dress. You know.
Well, a brunette, blue dress. You know.
I'll take the redhead all day.
That rock necklace.
Oh yeah, and the fact that Barney didn't even sleep in the same bed, she's like got needs. So,
That none of us can satisfy.
well, that's because she's a cartoon and not real. But but we
I
can
stand.
dream.
Hey, I'm looking at this live stream. I stand by my comment.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Number 1. Connected to a 1971 Woody Allen film. Number 2. However, it debuted in California in 1978.
What debuted? Sorry,
The answer.
I didn't hear what he said. The first word.
I said it was in a 1971 Woody Allen film.
Yep.
However, it debuted in California in 1978.
Okay.
Aldi,
Go for it.
Banana Republic.
Banana Republic
Ooh,
is
nice.
correct.
You know
the
what's-
Woody
you
Allen
know what's
film. The Woody
You know what's
Allen.
so stupid is I literally thought, oh, it's Banana Republic, and then I
You should
didn't
have
say
just done it.
anything.
You're like, snap.
Gotta throw it out there.
I understand.
Can't hesitate.
Clue number 1. Introduced in 1937. Clue number 2. Connected to a machine in Ohio. Clue number 3. Is connected to Secretariat. Clue number 4. Connected to the Arizona Cardinals.
Evan.
Go for it.
Big Red.
Big Red is correct.
Okay.
What's the name of their
Well done.
mascot or something?
What's
Yeah.
the?
The
I'm not even sure.
the Cincinnati Reds, the Big Red Machine.
Yeah.
And they were the really good baseball team.
Shout out to Larry Fitzgerald. Underrated.
Oh, shout out to Larry. Shout out. You want to know the most mind-blowing stat about Larry Fitzgerald?
I already know what it is, but tell
He was
everybody.
really good.
He has more
drops.
career as a wide receiver. He has more career tackles than he does dropped passes.
Oh wow, that's kind of crazy.
It is
He
insane.
tackled more people as an offensive player than he did drop passes thrown in his direction. Also, Minnesota Vikings ball boy.
Didn't know that one. Throw
Yeah,
that one in my back pocket.
yeah. He there was whenever his contract came up, there was always this big rumor that the Vikings are gonna, because he's from Minnesota. And there was
Also, a little bit of trivia. His personal chef for 5 years during his professional career is a graduate of Fargo North High School, class of 1985. For about 5 years while he was a professional. She cooked every meal of his. There you go.
Well, that's
How
cool.
good would those Vikings have been if they would have got him?
Imagine with him and Moss.
Yeah, that would have been
Oh, yeah, right.
disgusting. Oh
That'd be
my
good.
gosh. We're gonna yeah. Oof.
All right, here we go. Clue number 1. Influenced by Bill Alexander, although they would later have a falling out.
Who?
Clue number 2. Rarely highlighted humans. Clue number 3. Liked the phrase wet on wet.
God damn it. That was not me.
Clue number 4. Died in 1995, but is possibly more popular
Scott.
now.
Scott. Bob Ross.
Bob Ross.
Oh
There you go.
yeah.
The minute you said wet on wet, I knew it. And I'm like, I can't think of the dude's name.
Yeah,
So-
it amazes me just how popular he is like in the last decade as opposed to like then.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like I
used
remember
to
a lot
watch
of
him
people
as a
talking about
kid.
Bob Ross when
Oh,
I was
yeah.
a kid.
He donated the vast majority of all his paintings to like libraries and stuff. He sold very few. And now they're like, worth a lot of money, obviously.
I just want to point out for the first time that I can remember since maybe even ever, there's a 1 next to my name.
Yeah.
Is that your first point?
I think I might have gotten one other time.
Don't
think
get
you did.
used to it.
All praise Bob
It's
Ross.
about to be a 2. You're so awesome.
All right,
Swerve.
There
here we
you go.
go. Clue number 1. This is direct. Clue number 2. This is often considered to have much force. Clue number 3. This is commonly found in many sports. Clue number 4. This implies a minimal use of technique, skill, or moves. Clue number 5. This is often done by defensive players. Final clue. Defensive linemen often use this bovine strategy to get to the quarterback. Forrest.
Bull Rush.
Bull rush is correct.
Too much sports reference there.
No.
Right.
write it down.
I don't know if I've ever even heard that term, but I've watched football.
I've heard of it.
Really?
Really?
I know it. Yeah.
Huh.
Clue number 1. Connected to high pressure.
Force.
Go for it.
Battle Royale. Thanks.
And
Damn it. I even celebrated. Took a shot.
number 2. Commonly connected to steam. Number 3. Often found on ships.
Evan,
Go for it.
boiler room.
Boiler room.
Well
is
done,
correct.
sir.
Very nice.
Well done.
Evan, did you take your pay attention pills
Took
today,
took some-
or
My
You got his
ginseng.
omegas,
Yeah.
Mega 1s.
Yeah. Pay attention pills.
yes?
And a roll, baby.
All
Love
right,
it.
here we go. Clue number one is no longer alive.
Aldi.
Go for it.
Wow.
Burt
Go for it.
Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds is
Wow.
correct. Wow.
From downtown.
Wow.
I knew.
Okay.
I knew it had to be there.
No,
Okay.
you're
Took
no,
a
you're
swing.
Gotta
Took a
do
swing
it
for the
sometimes.
fences.
I see how it is.
So you know what's sad is that Norm was supposed to have, like, he got in touch with Burt Reynolds and talked to him, and they actually had worked out a skit for Burt Reynolds to show up for Celebrity Jeopardy where he was pretending to be Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
And
that'd
he
be
was
great.
going to come on, and he was basically like beat the
Knock
shit
him
out of Norm and like throw him off the set and then take his spot. And then after he basically come on and say, "You're not Burt Reynolds, I'm Burt Reynolds." He's like, "No, what are you talking about? I'm Burt Reynolds." And then he was like gonna throw him off, and then he was gonna take his spot, and then he was gonna be even stupider.
Would be great.
And apparently Burt was all for it, and it was just they just could never figure out. And then Norm got fired from SNL. But yeah, he was just like,
Right.
Man.
can you imagine?
So
So
what were
if
your
there's an
other-
alternate
what-
timeline
what were
where he
your
does
other five
not
clues?
piss off the people at the company and Dirty Work becomes the classic it should be, and he's one of the biggest movie stars in the history of comedy. We
Yeah.
live in that world.
Dirty Work.
Attended
dirty
Florida
work,
State.
So quotable.
Appeared in Cosmopolitan. Has appeared on Celebrity Jeopardy. Was a sex symbol with a signature mustache.
It could be any of us, really.
Yeah. Seen in Boogie Nights, Deliverance, and
You know,
Smokey and the
if you
Bandit.
gave that clue first, I was going to guess you, Lance.
Oh well,
Then I was going to go to Evan.
I've never had just a mustache. I think it's like, and every once in a while you see a guy with a mustache nowadays, and you're just kind of like, that's kind of creepy.
Yeah, totally.
I do it once a year when I do the No Shave November, and I have one day where it's a mustache, and it is the dirtiest, most disgusting, creepy thing ever on me. It's all patchy. I look like a child predator, and I'm not saying that in a jokey way. My wife has been like, "Dear God, I don't even want to leave the house with you when you look like that." And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know how I put up with it."
And
Like,
what
I
date
look
is
terrible.
what date is this? Because I think I want a game at your house on that day just so I can.
The end of November, I'll let it all grow, and then I'll mess with it for a couple days in December. Like, oh, let's get the Fu Manchu or this or that. And I always get one day of a mustache, and I always try and shoot a video on that day too, just so
Fu
everyone
Manchu,
can see
what a
the
great band.
terribleness.
Anybody else listen to Fu Manchu? That's a great band.
Fu Manchu.
Just I guess I kind of punky power rock, good stuff. Anyway,
Used to listen to a little Wang Chung.
there you go. That's almost the same thing.
Tonight?
Everybody.
Yeah,
See what I
everybody,
did there?
I got
everybody tonight.
Mhm.
Wang Chung.
Yes. Yes.
All right, clue number one. First known use was by a gold medal in 1958. Clue number two. This is not natural. Clue number three. This is often found iced. Clue number four. It is an artificial flavor. Clue number
Evan.
five. Evan?
Blue raspberry.
Blue raspberry is correct. Well done.
That's
Wow.
a weird flavor.
What the hell is wrong with Evan? Like, this is not human.
Who is this guy?
Who is this guy? I got to buy his games now. That's all there is to it. Just because the genius that is captured in that cap, I've got to experience it.
There's no genius there, my friend.
There's no hair either.
There ain't no hair. There's nothing there.
Hey, there's 6 left. It's anybody's game. Evan leads with 4, Aldi with 2, Scott and Forrest both with 1.
0.
Number 1. Went by the last names of Ashburn and Claypool. Number 2 was born and died in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Number 3 has appeared on a stamp.
Aldi.
Go for it.
Babe Ruth.
Good guess.
Number 4 has a major bridge named after them. Number 5. Although it's not verified, one story suggests that they altered some very notable stars from 6-pointed to 5-pointed.
Evan,
Evan
Betsy Ross.
is correct.
Wow,
Betsy
okay.
Ross.
Wow. Okay.
That's 2 Rosses in the same show.
Yeah, there you go. With 5 left, it is still anybody's game.
I got out of help.
You know, the people that are behind Evan need to basically get a lot of these in a row. But here we go. Can be found today in dozens of countries. Number 2. However, the first one opened in 1945. Forrest
Baskin Robbins.
is correct.
Oh, wow.
Forrest Bauer.
You saw my mouth was open to say.
Baskin.
Wow.
Love me some Baskin
Robbins.
Robbins.
Wow. Wow.
You sit there, you try out 5, 6, 7 flavors when nobody's behind you. Just go ahead. I'm testing this one.
Actually, can you do the rest of the
wait.
Baskin Robbins quiz?
What?
Can you do the rest of the Baskin Robbins quiz?
Sure. Their first names are Bert and Irv. Connected to the colors pink and blue. Known for their samples.
Did we have this clue before?
Probably.
I don't remember doing it before.
Don't try
I'm
and
having,
take my
deja
point
vu.
away from me. 'cause
No, I'm
we
not
brought
taking
it
your
up
point away.
2.5
I'm saying
years
I'm having
ago.
deja vu.
Known for their 31 flavors.
Man, I was almost there. I was almost there.
Do you guys have frozen yogurt places near you where you go and you put your own yogurt in the cup and then they
Oh,
weigh
yeah, we
it
do.
and they charge you or whatever?
You fill it
I
with
hate
toppings
those.
and charge it. Yeah.
So
Hate it.
there's one near my kind of close to where we live, and every once in a while the kids will say it's called Tutti Frutti. And they're like, can we go to Tutti Frutti? And so people like get the stuff or whatever. And I always go there and they have the little cups that you can get samples, and there's like these are the 10 different flavors of frozen yogurt you can get. And I'm not a real big fan, but I'm like, but I'll take samples of like 5 of them, and that'll be all the frozen yogurt I want. I'm like, yeah, I'm good.
You don't order anything?
None of the flavors really jazzed me today. Maybe better luck tomorrow.
But you'll try all 5 of them or something.
Yeah, but I'll try them. Yeah, there's some I won't. You know, it's like, oh, did you want, coffee and cream? No, I don't want coffee and cream frozen yogurt. Get out of here.
That sounds pretty good, actually.
Ugh.
I base every interaction I have with service workers on the fact that they probably don't give a shit. Just don't make their life harder. But at the end of the day, I just assume everyone who works at every fast food restaurant or movie theater just doesn't care. And the people
It's just not worth it. Well, no, I mean it's not worth it to have a conflict with somebody. If you're making $9 an hour, do you really want to like get into some argument with some person that's going to wait for you to like see which car you drive so they can put a knife in their tire? I mean, that's
too much crazy in the world.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Clue number 1. This sometimes includes forgetfulness. Number 2, it's often connected to swearing. Number 3, this commonly happens on TV and film. Number 4, known for their mistakes. Number 5,
Aldi.
go for it.
Blooper reel?
Blooper reel
Oh,
is
nice one.
correct.
Very nice.
Number
Nice
5
one.
was commonly comes in a compilation.
Good one.
Do you remember that show, Dick Clark's Blooper?
Bloopers and practical jokes?
Yeah. You remember that?
So I remember like there was this one Scott, you're out. Forrest, you can tie. Aldi, you can beat him.
Man.
With 3 left.
Go.
I'm
One
not out.
year
I'm
on-
the spoiler. I'm the
He's a spoiler. He's
Yeah,
playing
yeah.
spoiler.
The 1 year on the bloopers and practical jokes or whatever, like it came down to like, oh, it's like the funniest home videos, whatever. There's like the funniest home videos one. So it came down to like the 3, and then they you did a vote, and whoever got the most votes won like $10,000 or whatever for like having the funniest thing. And I remember as a kid I watched, and there was this one that won the 10 grand or whatever it was, because they were like the kids were like sledding in the backyard. There's a hill in the backyard over there, and they slid down, and then the direction of their slide actually carried them, so they went right in the back door of the house. And so they went sliding in their sled right in the back door of the house. However, you can see that they had actually dug a trench so the sled would just follow it and right through the back door of the house. So it was totally made
It was
up.
rigged.
But they still won. I remember as a kid, I was like, that isn't the funniest home video. That is like they planted it. It was the first time ever that like people like did that just to win money. But yeah.
For 10 grand, I'd risk my kid's life. Sure.
Maybe
Hey,
man.
wait, 10 grand was a lot
Sorry.
more back then.
I mean, 10
Sorry,
grand
I
in the
didn't
80s.
mute. Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
$20 is $20.
That's like $185,000 on a Kickstarter these days.
Yeah, you can buy 2 Tesla shares.
That's
Clear one. This is often used as a metaphor. Number 2. Connected to Chicago on July 12th, 1979. Number 3. Connected to statements and opinions. Number 4. In a literal sense, it is connected to skipping. Number 5. Features repetition. Final clue. When you say the same thing over and over again, you are often referred to as sounding like
Forrest.
this. Forrest.
Broken record.
Broken
Yeah.
record.
You're saying there's a chance.
I was thinking
Yes,
of skipping of like skipping rope.
Yeah.
Couldn't get that out of my head.
Just so you know,
Skipping
that
down the
night
street.
in Chicago, it was Disco Demolition Night, where the
I
Chicago White Sox.
Yeah, I was wondering. I thought that was the connection, but I couldn't figure it out.
Chicago White Sox, they basically said when the crowd showed up, they said that they would people were allowed to bring in their disco records, and then they put them in
Yeah,
a big giant
they-
crate
Yeah,
on
they,
the field.
did they burn them all?
No, they blew them up.
Oh, they
Yeah,
blew
the
it up.
pictures
Yeah.
the pictures are pretty awesome.
That's in the Bee Gees documentary, by the way,
Yeah.
which I highly recommend.
Cool.
Do love the
So-
beaches. What's the name
So
of that?
The Bee Gees documentary. I don't know. Bee Gees.
if you look into it, it was like because of like the local radio station was like their
it was
FM
like the
dial
death
was,
of disco, right? Or they were like,
yeah, there was like
that was this big thing.
it was like 98, it was like, or 97.9. So admission only cost 98 cents, and they expected maybe 20,000 people. 50,000 people showed up. And then
Beer on sale?
yeah, beer was on sale too. So it was like just
the perfect storm.
yeah, just 50,000 drunk people. And then when they blew up the records, the crowd surged onto the field because everybody wanted to grab like as a keepsake. They wanted to grab it. So all of a sudden, like one person jumps on the field and another person, then pretty soon, all of a sudden, it's like
a riot.
it's like
Yeah,
whenever we realize that they're not arresting anybody, everybody ran out there.
They intersperse scenes of that mob scene with like the most amazing Bee Gees stage present. Like, like they wear these like shiny costumes and the stage is massive and there's like all this like amazing disco stuff.
Yeah. So
and they're like, that night disco died.
So anyway, good times. Okay, we got two left. Forrest, you can tie. Aldi, you can tie if you run the table. Evan, you need to get one, or Scott needs to get one, and you win. No pressure.
Come on, Scott.
We got a tiebreaker coming. Call my shot.
Clue number one. Connected to a night at the opera. Clue number two. Released in 2018. Clue number three. Saw a major resurgence in 1992. Clue number four. Was caught in a landslide. Clue number five.
Scott.
Scott.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Bohemian
There you
Rhapsody, Evan, you back up into the win.
Wasn't even close there to that.
Well done.
I wasn't close either, which surprises me because I love that song.
Yeah,
I thought it was like Fleetwood Mac or something.
I was thinking Fleetwood Mac, yeah.
The delay there was me going, caught in a landslide, goes easy come, easy go.
Yeah, I was like, and the landslide bring me down.
Yeah, I was more Fleetwood Mac.
Da-da-da.
Yeah, I was thinking Smashing Pumpkins, Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
Clue number five was appeared in
Which is a cover, by the way.
in the movie
It's a good
Wayne's
cover.
World.
What's that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good.
All right, here's for glory.
Wait,
Yes.
wait. The original Bohemian Rhapsody is a cover? Is that what you're saying?
No,
No.
the
Oh,
Smashing Pumpkins.
And
Oh, yeah,
2018 was the movie
yeah, I
Bohemian
guess.
Rhapsody. Anyway, here it is. The final one for glory, nothing else. Number one. Established in 1996. Number two. Was originally brown.
Scott,
Go for it.
Black Rock.
And number three. Have collected rings. Number
Oh.
four.
Criminy sake.
Connected to a bird.
Boo. The one I know.
Number
I
five.
could have tied for last place.
Connected to Edgar Allan Poe.
of course.
Forrest.
Baltimore Ravens.
Baltimore
There you go.
Ravens.
I was like, it's a
Correct.
sports thing. I know it.
Yeah.
They are originally the Cleveland Browns,
Cleveland Browns.
and then they
Really?
moved to Baltimore, and then the Cleveland Browns came back.
Started again.
I just want to say that I feel a part of the winning team here.
For the
and that
winning team.
by helping Evan to victory.
Thank you.
You know,
He did good on his own.
he really did.
Well, I mean, weirdly, like Forrest rang in a half a second too late on Bohemian Rhapsody,
I didn't have
and he
that right.
rang in a half a second too late. Go ahead, he got Baltimore Ravens. So if Scott hadn't done that, Forrest would have tied you.
Nah, I
Everybody's
wouldn't.
good.
I was gonna say Bonnie Ray. I thought that was
Oh,
lead
okay.
singer of Fleetwood Mac, which I knew was wrong. I know she's a singer, but I don't know what the hell she sings.
Bonnie Raitt,
Yeah.
more country.
I think her band was just called Bonnie Raitt.
Where's the Blade Runner, man? I had Blade Runner.
I know,
That's
right?
one word.
No, where's Baton Rouge?
Batman Returns.
Brian Regan.
Hey, there were lots of them.
Yeah, there are. That's why I feel like we did the. I really remember the Baskin Robbins.
I
That
feel
is
like
so bizarre.
I
to me
kind of
that you
almost
would
wish we
remember
had
that.
like a person that wrote down every week's. Not,
like
and
what
that's a
what's
lot of
up
work.
next.
Like yeah, what we should have
Yeah.
like our historical records of.
Yeah.
It's
of
coming.
initials.
Once YouTube starts implementing that AI, eventually it'll be like, yeah, well, show me every video I've ever mentioned this.
And it'll confidently tell us misinformation.
That'll be nice. That'll be
So you
that'll be
know how
so
like
interesting to go back through all your stuff. Like if you're a content creator and be like, what did I get wrong? What did I
so
hate?
a Facebook memory popped up for me today, and it was from like 10 years ago, where when my then 6-year-old daughter asked to play D&D, and so we made a D&D group at the house, which was like basically my wife and my daughter, and I ran the game. And then we did session reports after we played, which was basically for me, but I just did it from a YouTube channel. And I was like, what's this? Oh my gosh, I forgot I did these. And I'm just watching my like kid in kindergarten sitting there like talking about killing goblins and stuff. And I'm just in my tail.
Yeah.
Just ah, it
I
was a
shot
good
a lot
cry.
of videos with my kids. Every once in a while, I'll go to one, and it's just the tears start rolling, the regrets start going in, like, you're never gonna be that young again, and I wish I wouldn't have done this, the other thing. Just beating yourself up as a parent, as I do. Just ugh.
You just got to do your best.
Yeah.
Well, it's also I compare to what I'm doing now to my 2-year-old daughter being a stay-at-home dad to what I did when I used to work 40 hours a week. And it's like, yeah, obviously it's going to be a wide chasm of difference. But it still doesn't make suck any less that I couldn't have been doing it then.
No, I'm with you. I remember every mistake I've ever made. It's a curse, right?
It depends on what you do with it, I suppose. You don't have a short memory when it comes to fuck ups if you don't learn from them, I suppose.
I always used to say it's funny. I always used to say I'm not going to screw up my kids the way my parents did. I'm going to find all kinds of new ways to do
Yeah.
it. You know?
Preach to my kids. Take the good, leave the bad. You know the difference. I'm not perfect.
That's right.
Luckily, my dad is such a fuck up that it's like house money here. I'm gonna be a better dad.
Right. You've overachieved on every aspect.
Here, that is overachieving.
Yeah. Amen.
So you know how you stumble upon a YouTube channel and you're like, what's this? You know, like kind of thing. And I stumbled and I was like, oh God, how did I get this channel recommended to me somehow? And I saw the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is called Dark Brandon. And I was like, oh no. And I was like, but it was like a little cartoon. I clicked on it. It is a highly liberal, highly progressive channel, and they put multiple things up, and it's cartoons of these different characters who just show clips of. It's very political and very, of course, now anti-president, and it's really really well done and funny, and I was just like,
really good.
I was like, how, yeah, how did I not know this existed? And yeah, so if you're looking for something just to allow yourself to laugh a little bit about the world kind of going to crap right now, Dark Brandon. And if you and again, if I guess if you are a follower of the Republican Party, you're probably gonna hate it and not enjoy it. But
Hey,
It looks awesome.
I hated grape for 38 years. Now I love it. You never know.
yeah.
And I don't think that's fair either, because no matter where you are, I'm sure there's things you disagree with, right? There's always somebody crazier than you in your party, in your perspective, I would imagine. Even as far right, as far left as you go, you're like, I'm glad I'm not like those fucking crazies over there.
Yeah.
I'm subscribed. I love cartoons.
I love cartoons.
No, I love political cartoons. I love when I was a kid. Love them now. Didn't understand them as a kid, but I still love looking at them in the paper. Like Boondocks, I used to be like, oh, I love Boondocks because I was just a stupid ass kid who wanted to seem smart.
I miss the comics page. Remember the Sunday funnies?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, just
Getting the silly putty out and copying it on there too.
yeah,
That was
baby.
great.
I remember that. That was like, oh, look at Beetle Bailey's got a fat head. You know.
Oh, Ziggy.
Oh,
Ziggy.
Ziggy, will you
Oh,
ever
Ziggy.
win?
Will you ever win? Oh, Ziggy. What is that from?
That's Mr. Burns.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then because Smithers says something along the lines of, and so Ziggy goes to the next stall and it says out of order. He's like, oh, Ziggy,
Oh, Ziggy.
will you ever win? Just
Oh, Ziggy.
what was I remember that was the one that they had the there's so many great Simpsons. I think I've mentioned this before, but like when like Mr. Burns is like he's on a phone call and he's like talking and he's got like a boxing helmet on and he's like now don't, I'll be busy for the next like 15 minutes or something like that, and you see him and he's got boxing gloves on and he like pushes him, he punches him in the ear. It's like, all right, and he steps in and there's this huge giant boxer on the other side. You're going down, my big friend. The guy just goes, yes, Mr. Burns. That's it. Just I just remember watching that, just laughing. I haven't watched. I mean, I watched a couple of the more recent stunts, but I mean, they're okay, but they're not nearly. They're just not the same. When they were trying to, I don't know, push the envelope. What is it? Do you realize that it's been like 10 some years since the last Game of Thrones book came out?
I was
That
thinking
is
about that the other
insane.
day. You look at
Yep.
Sanderson. Sanderson? Is that his
Yeah,
name?
Brandon Sanderson.
Brandon Sanderson. Let's put
Yeah.
out like 15 books in a couple years.
He's
Like,
prolific, yeah.
it's unreal.
Yeah, it was released. Sorry, it's 14 years ago. It was released July 12th, 2011. And yeah, no, it just, I was thinking
You know,
about that.
he doesn't owe anybody anything in a sense, right?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
But every
the TV
time-
show ended
but it-
perfectly too. Just be happy with the TV show ending.
But every time I see it, it'll be like, from George R.R. Martin, and it'll be, like a tangential book, short stories, or a spin-off TV show or something.
He's probably burnt out. I mean,
Oh, I get it, right? You go, God, I'm so done with this story. That said, I always see that and I think that's just like shitting on your fans to a certain extent. Now, again, he doesn't owe them anything, right? Hey, go and live your life, man. But it does strike me as funny.
yeah, I agree completely. Because it's like you assume there will be an ending since you're not dead. But
here's
No.
so Martin stated in October 2022 that he had completed approximately 3/4 of the novel, estimating that he had written approximately 1,100 to 1,200 pages, and he had roughly 400 to 500 pages left. He gave the exact same estimate in November of 2023, a year later, meaning that he had gotten nothing done, and said that he was struggling with it. In December, like a little over a year later, he stated, "I might never finish the book, but it is still a priority for me."
Hey, let's just predict what's going to happen. I think we all know what's going to happen. He is going to die.
Mhm.
Well, no,
And then hold on. Hey, was I not in the middle of a sentence here, Lance? I tell you what.
Oh, I love it.
So I'm just picking on you. He's gonna pass away, and then they're gonna hire somebody else, a Brandon Sanderson or somebody, probably not Brandon, but to write the book, to finish the 2 novels, because it'll be worth so much money to do, based on just like Tolkien's kid did, right, for the Silmarillion, right?
Oh,
That's
you know
what's
what'd be
gonna
cool?
Well,
What if they
the
took-
more would be what's his face, the Oh, what were those books? I can't think of the
Aragon.
no
Paulini? Yeah, he's brilliant.
Wheel of Time, Robert Jordan.
Wheel of Time. Thank you, Robert Jordan.
Here's
And
an idea.
basically,
What do
when
you think about
Robert
this
Jordan
one?
passed away, and they gave it to the like, basically he cleaned it all up and summed it up and got it done.
What if they got 3 separate authors? So here's the first 1,250 pages. You write the last 250. It's a 2,000-page book. Then people vote for which of those 3 authors they want to write the final book. That would be awesome. That would almost get me to buy the books and then not read them. Again.
Didn't Brandon Sanderson finish the Wheel of Time?
Was it him?
Yeah.
Probably.
No, the Wheel of Time keeps on turning.
I don't know. I'll be tomorrow.
More Journey references, please. More.
That's a big wheel in the sky.
Well, no, and then
true.
well, and if you read the Dance of Dragons, you know it ended on a cliffhanger. I mean, basically the town of Marines being invaded, and it's like, you know, it's this giant moment or whatever. No, I mean, what I think is that he will never. I think that he's 76 years old.
Man,
Yep.
he's not in good health. At least it doesn't appear that way.
I think that he will. I think that he will finish it. I think he'll finish this book, but there's zero chance he will write A Dream of Spring. Zero chance.
Yep.
There is a -% chance that he will write A Dream of Spring.
Also, like, can you imagine how much money he landed into? Just
well, no,
that...
he doesn't have to sell anything anymore. So
yeah, and it's like you don't have to work at that point. Like, you get that HBO money. Like, I wouldn't have any desire to write anything else ever again. Because, man, I wonder how much he's made off that series, just the HBO series.
Right.
Well, and everything else, like every single game, every single
spin-offs, the
every single
merchandise,
sticker, every single every single action figure, every single.
And then it's like, yeah, go write 2,000 more pages. It's like, yeah.
I'm too busy counting my money, so
and being 70. I'm too busy not. Yeah, like, I couldn't even imagine having the motivation to do much of anything at 70. That big.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, it'll just never happen.
What do you think about the idea?
I think
a couple
here,
different
there's
offers,
my
right?
prediction. I give a 45% chance the next book comes out while he's still alive and he'll finish it. Again, -% chance that the last book comes out. You know, I give a real good chance to. Like he outlines it and then he turns it over to somebody else, and then that book is printed, whether he's alive or dead, and it'll be printed and it'll be said, they'll call it A Dream of Spring by George R. R. Martin and somebody. So it'll be like co-written, the last book will be. And he'll, like I said, provided an outline or whatever.
Yeah, that sounds very viable.
I mean, think about this. He was a bachelor when he wrote the first book in 1996. And he didn't get married until it was in 2011. So
so his work went to hell once he got married. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think, yeah, that's obviously what I'm getting at.
And he's got even less time to spend doing it too. Yeah, 45%. Well, no, I mean, you get married. I would hope that you would have less time. Like, let me rephrase that. I would sincerely hope for his wife that you would have less time to write your book. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you to read it, Lance?
I mean, I'll read it once it comes out.
That is,
I don't remember it. I don't remember anything.
But the problem is that one, you kind of have a pretty good idea of how it's going to end, because like the reason why they were able to make the show was because he told them how it ends, right? he gave him the plot points, and while they were able to mess with it a little bit,
Liberties.
Girly Gamer, I'm sorry I didn't see your quote until now. What was it called, Lance? Like my video of me and my kid. Let me see. Just go to my channel and search for my daughter's name, Rilyn. You'll
Is
find
that
it.
the YouTube
Rylan's,
girly gamer, the content creator?
yeah, Rylan's Dungeons and Dragons
Big ups.
session reports. You know,
I
Anyway.
appreciate your content on games out of Asia. I have watched a couple of those. Look,
yeah. Anyway, so there you go. I mean, it's one of those things where you hope, that he gets it done, but then again, just whatever. We know how it ends, so.
By the way, if you sell your iPhone, this is total non sequitur. Don't delete TikTok off of it because they're selling for a higher amount if you sell a used iPhone with TikTok installed. Like,
Really?
didn't they say that somebody big like
because you can't download TikTok anymore.
No,
Oh,
I
that's
thought somebody they
hilarious.
just announced yesterday today that somebody big was on the verge of buying it or something. I don't remember who it was, but
I don't think
it was
so.
a name.
Mr.
Was it what?
Beast.
I haven't heard anything about the selling of it.
No, I think it was just like a day or two ago I saw it.
The
'Cause there's the
Chinese
Mr.
government
Beast
has to
one that
be
fell
part of
through.
this. You can't just buy a company by saying you're going to buy it. You have to have the People's Republic of China.
Well, I'm rooting against it. I hope it dies. I hope it goes away. Viva la YouTube Shorts.
I'm with you, Forrest.
You hope it dies?
I do. Well, but mine's purely
that's
for...
right. You basically got. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I have selfish reasons. 100%.
You're selfish. Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally.
I did. By the way, I erased it off my phone and I can't get it back. I was gonna like reinstall it after I got reinstated. You can't. It's gone out of the App Store.
Oh, why? Just because they don't want it on any iPhone?
It's banned.
Didn't Trump say he was going to extend it or something? I thought he
It's
just announced
extended,
something a couple days ago.
Here's the thing. Like, I think Apple has too much to lose by breaking the ban.
Well, good. Be gone.
Right. The fine was like ridiculous. It was something like millions and millions of dollars a day.
Yeah, I was watching a couple of videos about it too, and it wasn't even like China that people like that we quote unquote shouldn't be concerned. It was like some in the Middle East, like somebody bet like the big people paying for it or something in the Middle East. I don't give a shit either way. I just thought it was
I
interesting.
don't think that's going to be a thing either.
I saw like
Did
two
you guys hear
videos
about
and I was just scrolling and I thought it was interesting. Where it's like, yeah, I don't know why everyone's worried about China. Like, if you really go up the tree, it's this country that some in the Middle East. Oh, there's that toilet plunger. Yeah, that's my favorite game component ever from Rise of Queensdale. That's what they used to pick up the tiles off the board because there was like multiple layer of tiles. Greatest component ever.
Yeah.
Did you see the DeepSeek AI reduced NVIDIA's market share by like
Dude,
$600 billion?
It crapped on the crypto market too. I woke up to that. I was like, what the hell happened? And it was like, oh, DeepSeek.
And this is choice. OpenAI thinks they've been stolen from.
Wah.
Didn't OpenAI steal the internet without asking anybody? Like, it's
Wah.
just so ironic to me. Like, oh my God. I'm gonna
Just
shut
like I
it
said
down
with
now.
sports, just give us the steroids league. Just give us just go at it. Go as hard as you want on AI. Go as hard as you want in the steroid league. Just
The what?
no, I did. That's how I feel about steroids too. Like, just create a league where people with steroids can go hard
Oh, I see.
as hard as they want. And I feel like the same way with AI. Same with self-driving cars. Just let them go at each other's throat as hard as they can because they all want the money, and then everybody's going to have different advancements. And then eventually, hopefully, they'll mush them together when the companies combine to try and create a monopoly. And that's what I think. That's what I think is going to. Because yeah, I was messing with the DeepSeek. I downloaded it, and it's pretty damn good.
It's another
Pretty
Chinese
good.
app on your phone. Or actually,
I got plenty of Chinese apps on my phone. I mean,
yeah.
I still got all
Anyway,
the ones. From
I thought
China.
it was kind of like the headline says OpenAI says it has evidence China's DeepSeek used its model to train competitor Didn't you guys steal the internet to try?
I was
to
gonna
use
say,
anything?
like,
fair game, right?
I think there's gonna be a lot of sympathy for Chat GPT from many
Yeah, right.
people.
Right.
Anyway, exciting times.
It is amazing AI though. It's
Is
as
it?
someone who had a Chat GPT Plus up until just earlier this month, and I paid for Twitter Premium, so I have the Grok. It's really good.
Yeah.
And it's free to download. I'd recommend it if you want to dabble with some AI.
I gotcha.
So Scott, you're coming back up to Fargo for Gathering of Vikings next weekend, right?
So I actually accepted a job yesterday. Actually, today I signed it right before I joined on the call.
Congrats.
So yeah, so I've been retired for the last 18 months, and so what's pretty cool is I haven't looked. I don't care. I don't want to go back to work, but because my theory on work, right, is we're literally trading our life essence for money to pay for things, and so don't do a job, but doing something that you think is an opportunity to either to give back or to make a difference or whatever the case may be, invest in people. That's pretty cool. So this was real organic. I first had a conversation with them like 8-9 months ago, and it was like they're like, we're not looking for a job, or we're not looking for anybody yet, but it'll heat up at some point. And it was pretty funny because the guy then, like, 6 months went by, and I was just living life. And he goes, "Oh, I'm surprised you haven't accepted anything." Well, that's because I'm not looking for anything, right? And so I said, "You're the only guy I'm talking to, and if it doesn't work out, that's okay too." And so having that real organic, thing, I wasn't looking for a job. It was just having conversation. So it sounds pretty exciting. So I accepted that. So I now have a global role running technical sales for a startup software company, and I'll be heading to Europe, and I'll be heading to Asia. And
Can you name the company, or is that too soon?
no, it's fine. I haven't announced anything. I'm not joking. I signed the document like an hour ago.
Wow, cool.
It's a company called Seek Software, SEEQ. So the reason I can be retired is I worked at a company called Tableau, and I was there pre-IPO, and then went through the IPO process. This company is approximately the same size as Tableau when I joined. Seek Software is all about analytics in manufacturing processes and whatnot. The industry itself doesn't really interest me that much, but the fact that they have, a whole bunch of technical folks doing sales that don't know how to do sales, that's kind of my specialty, is to kind of drive sales acumen into people. So it's actually pretty exciting.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
That really speaks to me what you said there, though, like about the trading
Our
your life.
life.
Yeah, and like,
Yeah, we're
I'm in the
trading
same
our
position
life.
too, where I'm a stay-at-home dad, and like I took a job just like I wasn't looking for it, but it's like, because I applied for a football coach job a couple weeks ago just because like I love just giving back to it and stuff, and
Yeah, amen.
great philosophy. Also, really helps to have a lot of money. Having a lot of money in the bank helps the philosophy along too.
Well, I kind of laugh because I'm on LinkedIn, and I really haven't paid much attention for 18 months, but every time I'd go on there, or I'd see, maybe I'd get a notice and peek at what somebody was doing. You'd see all these like, "I'm thrilled to announce that I'm joining," and they're not. No, you're not excited to be taking an account manager job at some company. You're doing it because you want to pay your mortgage, you want to pay for your college, your kids' tuition, or whatever the case may be, right? And somebody had dropped a line on me that really resonated, which is, I probably shouldn't name names, but there's a YouTuber who focuses on board games, who said something like, "Imagine how much art and creativity and imagination there would be if this country had healthcare where you didn't have to take a job you fucking hate so you can have healthcare."
Yeah.
And that really resonated. He didn't say it with the vulgarity, but that really resonated with me, right? Because if you didn't have to work for fucking healthcare, the number of people that would be doing amazing creative things because they wouldn't be trading their life essence for fucking healthcare, right? So that really resonated with me and has stuck with me and will continue to stick with me.
I feel that same way about universal basic income too, where if it ever came around, we would just see like this renaissance of the arts.
I
as
agree
people-
completely. Yeah, that's exactly where my mind went to, Forrest, was universal basic income and Andrew Yang, and so
Well, it's just like I think about my wife, and I was actually talking to my kids about it because my wife does not have many hobbies, and she was, and I was like, "What do you?" And my kids were like, "What do you think Mom's going to do when you retire?" Because we were talking about like I'm going to do everything, like I'm going to have 500 things to do, and she doesn't do much. And I was like, I really thought about it. I was like, if she just had an unlimited amount of time, she would make the most amazing sculptures. Like she would
Right.
take trash and she'd make it. And she hasn't done it in years and years and years, and it makes me. And I was thinking about it. I was like, damn, it made me sad. It's like that part of her that she used to be so passionate about, just gone because the grind and 3 kids and all this and all that. And yeah, I agree completely, man.
and at some point you just get exhausted.
Yep.
We
We were talking about earlier how we don't watch TV shows and movies. My wife don't, because she's exhausted at the end of every day. It's just every day. It's like, you want to watch it? It's like 2 hours. Like one of us is going to pass out.
Right.
And
So anyway, I didn't mean to go on a rant there, but I wasn't even going to share that I'd started a new job. It's going to impact obviously some of my free time. But what I get excited about is investing in people. When I joined Tableau, there were 5 people on my team, and when I stopped running that team, there were about 150. And the 5 people that were on the team were all in leadership positions, and ultimately, I think 4 of the 5 of them are now VPs in other companies. And I take some pretty strong pride in having helped people with their careers, right, and invested in them. So anyway, I'll shut up now.
Yep.
Dark.
yeah, stop talking about all that positive, uplifting shit you like to do.
Yeah, instead
Lame.
let's talk. Hey, so, and I don't know if we want to talk about this or if
Oh
it's
yeah,
not
let's talk about
appropriate.
it.
Well, I'm just, I'm not. I know Dice Tower's struggling to fund on GameFound, right? And
Yeah.
and I'm just, is
Gonna
that something we want to
mention
talk
that.
about or not?
I'm glad we're talking about this.
Okay.
So the last one they did on Kickstarter made $381,000.
Yeah, I saw there's like this big comment there, like, and they didn't mention the Dice Tower specifically. They spoke in generalities on Facebook. They're like, yeah, with content fairs having problems getting funded. And I like look through the comments and I'm like seriously, is no one mentioning the switch from Kickstarter to GameFound? Like,
Right.
how is this not something being mentioned? Like, I know GameFound does big numbers, but if we're just talking about the size of the pool, like, I think
I mean, they got almost 2 days left to gain $9,000. They'll get it. No problem.
I think they will too. But they'll have enough people that'll be angel backers no matter what. Be like, oh, I'm Dice Tower for life. And I've seen Dice Tower tattoos. But it's just, I think they would 100% be funded if they were on Kickstarter. Like, I don't think it's rocket science here. I think there's definitely a lot of other factors that play into it. I totally agree. The fatigue, the amount of reviewers, the saturation, the number of people, like all the minor controversies that, swirl around the Dice Tower being the #1 flagship thing for the most part. But at the end of the day, yeah, it's on GameFound. I think it's on Kickstarter. I think you're probably funded.
The one campaign I ran on GameFound didn't fund, so I'm not anti it. The thing I noticed, like there were a lot. Look, Dragon's Down is expensive, and there were a lot of people, or there were some people, 5-10 people, who were talking about how you should do stretch pay on GameFound. And the thing about stretch pay is, I'm the only one who takes the risk. My office is the basement of my house. I'm not really a bank. I'm not in the collections business. I'm not in the business of loaning money to people. And so, that's just not what I am.
Wait. So how does that work? How do you take on the extra risk? How does that work? I'm curious.
So I can, when you do stretch pay, and I'm not an expert in it, but when you do stretch pay, you can set up like, hey, split this into X number of payments over X amount of time. So let's say I go, we're going to do monthly payments for a year. Great. Well, what if 6 months in I ship the game and then the person cancels that credit card? I'm on the hook to actually go and collect that money. GameFound has taken zero risk, right? And so if I were to ship the game before it's fully paid as part of the way I've set up stretch pay, I'm the one who's on the hook. And
Okay.
I'm not real big on the idea of, okay, we raised 185,000, but 60,000, and I'm making up a number, is actually deferred payments over the next 6 months that I now am going to turn into, instead of a guy who gets my game printed in China and shipped over here, I'm now going to be doing collections for the people that,
Don't pay.
it just, they don't pay. It's just
How long
not,
do the stretch pays go? I feel like that's probably not a problem for most games, especially not most big box games, is it?
no, you can set it up how you want, right?
Like, what's the limit, I imagine? Like 15 months, 24 months?
Well, GameFound was recommending it there. They had a thing that said, their samples, like, hey, you can set it up this way, was like monthly payments for a year. And I'm like, the hell? I'm not shipping the game in a year. And so
I love the fact you have that attitude, but I feel that like that is totally not the majority of Kickstarters. Like,
we did daily reveals. I mean, I had Natives and Legends, which is the campaign we just ran. The truth is we slowed things down because we're working with China and we're almost done on everything. Everything's submitted to them, and we're just doing the back and forth right now. And now Chinese New Year, so we're stopped. But the goal was to actually have the presses running before Chinese New Year. So
that's ambitious.
Well, we told everybody we're delivering in November, but the reality is we should crush that. So,
I like the cut of your jig.
Thank you, sir. But I just didn't. For me, I didn't want to turn what I do, right? Trade my life essence for I'm now hitting up, chief money boy at yahoo.com, for
so excited to see where that was going. I knew you were going to do a fake name.
Yeah, I know. I kind of paused there. I was like, wait a minute, where am I going myself? I just didn't want to have to, turn into where I'm just doing collections instead of doing something I actually love to do, which is the game design stuff.
I never thought about it. What do you think about that, Lance? You're on GameFound. Is that something like?
I mean, I guess the stretch pay, I think it helps. I mean, I've run into a few issues where people are like, "Oh, I didn't pay my full thing. Am I just out?" And it's like, no. I mean, I tell them once we complete fulfillment, we can. If we have games left over, you can pay what you have to pay, and we'll ship one out to you. But, I mean, it's like, and it's been a small percentage that are like that, right? I think that if we ever use GameFound again, which is a big if, I think that we will not use stretch pay as an option.
What percentage of people roughly use stretch pay for you at least?
I don't know offhand. I mean, it's not many. I mean, it's a lesser percentage, right?
You say less than 10%, probably.
I'd say it's right around 10.
It's like a credit card, right, or no? Like you don't get your money until they pay their money.
Yeah. I mean, GameFound doesn't float you the money. No,
they're not a credit card.
So it's one of those things where it's like you don't get it paid out until they collect the money, and if they decide not to, then you just don't get that money.
Yeah,
right. But you are not on the hook to refund them their money either. Like, GameFound is not like, well, they stop paying, so now you got to refund the money. They won't take the money. That's up to you of whether or not you're gonna give back the money to the people or not. And
the other part is the benefit, which I totally get. So if you go all in on if you had gone all in on this campaign, it was $369, right? And that's a big number, and I totally get it. But the reality is we're not increasing the price in the late pledge, and so pledge $100 now, pay 150 later or whatever, 169 later. You can do this artificially anyway, or you can do this just by pledging some amount now and pledge the rest later. So the idea of it being like this artificial construct with me being completely on the hook for it, and the failure rate of payments on Kickstarter is about 5% straight off, right? So you do a $180,000 campaign, 9,000 of that's going to bounce on the first run of credit cards, right? So you never get the full amount. So I don't
I'll
know
say
what you guys
this.
do.
I mean, I'll just say this. I mean, GameFound, the people running are nice. I mean, and like, but that doesn't have anything to do with the business end of it. I think, in my opinion, when they ran a bunch of things where they said we are the #1 site for board game, like we raise more money for tabletop board games than any other crowdfunding site. Well, yeah, that's a asterisk. Go down and look. Oh, that includes.
Oh, let me guess. Funded? And they're only talking about funded.
No, it's also they included all of the late pledge stuff, meaning that games that were on Kickstarter that used GameFound for their for their pledge manager, they counted that money, so they were getting money and they also counted all the shipping that you collect as well because you're doing your pledge manager through them, so they count all the money, like whether and including and I don't know if this is true or not, but I think they even included the VAT that they collect because they collect the VAT, which in GameFound's defense or whatever is a fantastic thing that they do for people that they collect the VAT and because they have the VAT ID and they handle it all for you. Like they take care of it as far as being able to paying on because you can use them. They process that for you. So I mean it is a fantastic service.
I've actually had someone say that's why they went to GameFound.
But for them to say, "Oh, we're the #1 site for crowdfunding of on board games," it's like, well, yeah, but you're also basically saying, and we have all of our stuff that we did for our campaigns, and then we took this other sack of cash that isn't actually the campaigns. It's late pledges, shipping, and fees, and what have you, and then we're adding it to this stack. So yeah, then you are. Whereas Kickstarter just has their own thing, And here's the deal. I don't know what the exact number is. I don't know the comparison, but I'll tell you this: if GameFound could say unequivocally, without adding all that other funds into it, and again to GameFound's, if you clicked on it to click on their reporting of that, they said this is how we got the number, right? They were transparent about it after you went into the article and read their newsletter as to why they made that claim. So, but if GameFound had just organically, these are the campaigns that were run, and we made more money than Kickstarter did doing board games without having to, fuss with the numbers to make it that way, they would have just said that, right? They said, all the board game campaigns made way more money than Kickstarter board game campaigns made. But they can't say that because, I mean, Kickstarter is still the place to go. It's still the place everybody, it is, when you say, it's like Band-Aids is the name when people think of adhesive bandages, right? Like, give me a Band-Aid. They don't say, give me an adhesive
Kleenex.
strip.
Yet no one in this Facebook thread of 50, 60 comments mentioned it. And it just blew my mind. It's like, duh. Yeah,
but
went to the second
nobody
place.
says, "Oh, I'm going to crowdfund this." People say, "I'm going to Kickstart it."
100%. So, and just to be clear, none of my comments that I just made were meant to be negative on GameFound at all, right?
We'll save those for after we go dark, right? No.
My one experience with it, we didn't fund, but that's okay. And it works great for some people. My thing on Dice Tower, I was, I've never been able to get Dice Tower to pay attention to any of my games without paying them, which is a bummer, right? To get reviewed or anything.
Mm.
I'd really like to see my games reviewed by them. It's a nice audience, right? But so that's why I'm not backing. That's why I'm
They
not.
pay for reviews? I thought they did the reviews anyway.
No, so the only thing they've ever done for me are previews. When
When
I
you
think,
send him something,
you
it
know.
doesn't guarantee anything. He's got like a
No.
huge stack.
Yeah, and look, I realized, but I noticed like in the Facebook Dice Tower group today, Tom posted a thing saying, we're publishing 4 videos a day, over 1,000 videos a year, and so if that's a value to you, that's $5 a month is all we're asking for. And he said something like, we review, every major game and a whole bunch of games from small publishers, and I'm like, I don't know, I've been trying to get you to review my games for 6 years. I'm a small publisher. And so I'm just, you don't get my money.
Are they really doing 4 a day?
That's what he said. I'm just.
Well, I'm not trying to like throw shade on Tom, but I'm like, I know the YouTube algorithm
That's wild.
does not like that stuff. Like we got so much flack for doing 5 videos a day this last
Right.
week.
Dude, I remember when I did my Kickstarter bonanzas, I'd post like 30 or 40 videos a day. And I just have like, I always unsubscribe for the weekend. Like,
I
YouTube's
got
not a
basically
fan
people
of
like,
that.
thanks for I'm gonna make you a lot of like complaints about now thanks for spamming the channel. Like 5 videos, man. That's not spamming.
Yeah, I
Right.
stopped caring a long
100
time
would be
ago.
spamming.
It's like you look at it in the short term, and you get it, but you look at the long term. That video's going to be there for decades. Whatever.
Hey, speaking of massive followings, I don't want to brag or anything, but I do now have 132 subscribers to Active Magic Games. Just want to point that out.
Score!
Yeah.
Congrats!
What do you need to
Yeah,
get?
I don't want to. What's that?
What do you need to get monetized? 1,000, I think.
Oh, I could. Yeah.
I think it is 1,000. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
What is
1,000.
that? Yeah, I'm not. That is not the plan.
I wonder how many I have. Let me see. Probably not that many.
I just crossed 30,000 earlier this year.
That's
That's-
amazing.
That's
It does
definitely
look
so-
like
more
they're
than me.
posting about 4 video or 5 videos a day.
Especially considering I've had the thing on the back burner for like the last 2 or 3 years, the sporadic and weird stuff.
Did you send a thank you note to Zep?
Yeah.
Like use up.
I have
Fair.
100,
Fair and true.
156
Zep, you suck.
subscribers.
Hey, one of those other plumbing ones I think is going to do it eventually. I think I'm just waiting on it because I see them, like those ones they keep. It's like 50, 60, 70, 80 views a day. It's like, oh, they're going to get back on that short shelf one of these days. I'm going to get the plumbing bug again.
Aldi, did you see that the Daily Show for the did a God, I can't even talk. They did a clip or basically a segment on their show talking about the RFK Jr.
Hearing.
Thing that he went through the
The confirmation hearing.
confirmation hearing. or
Oh,
whatever.
that's going to be good.
And they up with saying it's like, hi, today they're the weirdest Curb Your Enthusiasm episode of all time.
Yes.
and they zeroed in on her.
Cheryl Hines' facial expressions. I saw her face go sour many times. I'm like,
Dude,
Oh,
Collins from
I mean, I
Colorado
love-
tore him up.
I-
It was great.
I'm so it's like, I don't know. I like Cheryl Hines.
Did you see the clip? It was like 2 minutes of him like, did you say this? He's like, no, I don't need to know the context. I want everyone here to hear the things that you have said. Did you say
Yep.
this? He'd be like, I'm not sure, but like, I have
Seriously, it
this
won't
stuff. I'll
matter.
hand it to the commissioner. Did you say
COVID
this?
doesn't target Ashkenazi Jews.
Oh my
Right.
gosh, it was it was amazing. He set him on fire. I still think Bernie's
was
clip
that?
was better personally,
Yeah.
but Michael Collins, I'm a fan now. I'm a fan.
I have 2 boys, 5.4 million views, 4,000. Just rewatching the Zep. I'll go back and
Boom.
rewatch it.
Give me that 1/100th of a penny.
This is just comedy gold. It's like you did everything perfectly.
Dude, I'm getting excited about I'm getting the YouTube bug back. Like like I'm cleaning. I've spent probably like 40 to 80 hours in my basement cleaning and organizing for like my daughter and her area too, but for like Bowers Game Corner. I'm finally getting stuff set up on the table, like 6 people at game night tonight, like got my juices flowing to make some
Oh,
content.
yeah.
Because like I'm gonna
That's
try
awesome.
some really experimental stuff. I'm excited.
In board games or in general? Just
Well,
asking for a friend.
Just board games, but yeah, whatever
Yeah.
floats my boat. I got a Kickstarter
Dep,
getting
you
introduced
suck.
soon too. So I'm excited. I got a Kickstarter order and they sent me it, and it is just not great, not even good, not a fan. And like I messaged them and I was like, because I played it twice. I played it solo, then I played it two-handed, just to get ready for making a video and playing it game night, which I did not. And it was just like 6 post-it notes worth of questions, and then ending with, I'd also highly suggest you blind play test your rules before sending them to content creators. And then he sent me like a page response and it's like, how do you want to proceed forward? And it's like, just answer my rules questions and then we'll be off. And he's like, I'll get back to you. And I was like, you have a 30-minute game. What do you mean you'll get back to me? These are simple fucking questions that anyone who blind play test people, blind play test, just, especially for smaller games. I mean, come on. If you got a 30-minute game, it's inexcusable. It's inexcusable. Just because they're the simplest questions, like, oh, how does my character's ability work in this situation? And it's a situation that you're gonna have pretty much every game, and it's like, oh, it's not in the rules, because of course it's not in the rules.
Which game?
I believe we just heard a grievance.
Where was it?
Here, hey, Forrest, just so you know, you have a comment here, and like fairly recently, your boys use too much toothpaste because you allow it to happen.
I do.
mean, for crying out loud, you allow them to leave the area messy with spat out clumps of toothpaste in the sink.
He
A
put the
clear
toothpaste
indication
in the
there's a
video
lack
on
of
purpose.
parental guidance and structure, my friend. In my day, I'd be told once if I left the bathroom away. If it happened again, the belt would do the talking.
Oh my.
He's 100% right. Like it's right before bed. We're tired. We're lazy, and it's just, I assume you should be competent enough to go do this, and we just, yeah, he's 100% right. I don't know about the belt. I feel like the belt's a bit severe for the two. I've never busted out a belt on my kids. I've spanked, never felt the need to use anything other than my hand in the few instances, but he's 100% right. It's bad parenting.
About a year ago, somebody said, never heard of toothpaste causing clogs. Something else has got to be going on. And you responded to that person, ghosts?
Oh God! Somebody said one of my favorites was, somebody said you need to get a snake, a plumber snake or something to put. But I don't speak parcel tongue. Oh, the game is Chrono Team Go. So far, I'm very uninspired after the first 2 plays. Hopefully, he gives me a new version of the rules and it rocks my world. I don't see it, but I'm also going to play with my kids, and that also shines a different light on games a lot of the time.
Yep.
Like my 12-year-old will be like, "Oh my gosh, this is great! Look, this card connects with this card." I'll be like, "Okay, yep, I didn't notice those details. You see it, and this is something I can mention." Yeah. But anyway, I was excited because it's like I took a Fiverr order. I was promoting my Fiverr a little bit, getting out and about, and was like, all right, feeling the Bowers Game Corner juices, because it's like, I know if I just turn it on, I can jump from 30 to 40 to 50 to 60 if I start putting out the content that I know people want on actual hot games and being blunt and abrasive and, pissing some people off. Like, I just don't do it now at all.
Ghosts?
Yeah, that's the other thing I need to do is just get better at responding to comments, because it's so easy to just never do it. And it's fun too, because I just don't give a shit most of the time. Like half the time, I'll just be like, whatever AI wants, we're going to go with it. Which of the 3 best are AI?
Yeah.
It's fun.
Ah,
Sometimes it gives you totally random stuff too, and I'll do that as well.
well, I suppose it's almost one.
Yeah.
When's your late pledge launch there, Scott?
We'll probably do a test run next week with a select few, and then assuming everything goes well, we'll roll it out in a week after that, something like that.
What are you using for the thing?
We're using Pledge Manager.
No, what kind of pledge manager are you using?
Pledge Manager.
Yeah, that's what I
Is
asked you. Which
the
pledge manager
pledge
are you?
manager.
Yeah. Who's on first? Whenever I hear that, I remember. Do you ever? Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys remember Greg the Bunny, but like the
Yes.
original like short films they did when they introduced the characters, the vampire. Do you ever remember what the name of the vampire was?
Aegat blah.
Yeah, Count Blah
Count
was his
Blah.
name, and whenever he said, he would say blah at the end of it. So he was just like, "I'm a vampire," blah. And then like Greg the Bunny goes, "Well, what's your name?" And he's like, "I am Count Blah, blah." And he's like, "Count blah blah? No, just blah, blah. Just blah blah? No, Count blah, blah." Wait a minute, you said Count Blah. I'm not doing fucking Abbott and Costello with you. Yeah, I always remember that. It just freaks out. But I always thought that was the perfect name for the vampire puppet. Count Blah.
It was good.
Blah.
That show was hilarious, but I also understand why it was canceled almost immediately.
Because it did not translate well to TV at
No.
all.
Aegat blah.
But Count Blah was amazing. And he deserved better. Yeah. And the blah blah song was really good. And the he had the bit where he where they did a take on The Godfather. That was really good too. Anyway, I think you can find them on the YouTubes.
I
Worth
just
a
found
watch.
one.
Worth a watch if you want to watch the old Greg the Bunny. But and I'm not talking about the show. Like you got to go find like the little shorts and stuff that the guy did to that got noticed or whatever. But oh shit. Okay. Well, I'm tired. I'm cranky. So I'm gonna go
I
to
gotta
bed.
get up early tomorrow. Ooh, excuse me.
Yeah, you went back to work, you fool.
I know. I don't have mixed feelings yet, but I'm sure the first time yeah, anyway, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
You sat
I'm
there
excited.
bragging about being independent, no job. How's it feel to be an independent, Schoenstein?
Brought you back.
How's it feel to be an asshole, Niedermeyer? What movie is that from?
It's Animal House, right?
It's Animal House. After the fraternity gets thrown out, they're walking back to their frat or whatever. And he goes, "How does it feel to be an independent, Schoenstein?" He's like, "How does it feel to be an asshole, Niedermeyer?" What did he say? Animal House.
That's a good movie.
It's a great movie.
Can I go to bed now?
You can go to bed.
All right.
All right,
Well,
everybody. Be kind. Be good. See you next week.
Thanks all.